2 weeks back.
Maybe we can we can invite
get John. Yeah, get John,
on here.
I'll text him right now. Tell him look for an invite.
Yeah, who?
John.
Who's that?
John Longest, the guy that you and Daryl
shit about Pete. Yeah,
the guy that you and Daryl ignored the entire show last week.
I rewatched that.
I didn't ignore him. Damn. Kris called the beast, and me and Pete got salty.
Yeah.
Maybe we can invite. What's his name? Pete.
JR?
John Longest.
John Longest. Yep.
JR told him he had a porn name.
I'll watch that shit.
If anybody's wondering, people that say I don't work, I started at 6:30 this morning. I got home about 25 minutes ago, jumped in, took a quick shower. So now I'm eating my supper is the reason you see my lips smacking.
How about your dentures clapping?
Chicken salad.
Yes, sir. Oh, boy.
Trying to find him, Pete.
Can I copy and paste the
I'll do it.
There he is. I got him.
You got him?
Yeah.
I sent him a text message to expect it. I took your hand off. I saw that. I didn't see. I heard it.
Easy. Come on. Get the camera. Easy. Come on. That's it. Easy.
Damn. That dog ain't ate in like 2 weeks.
Dude, this dog's fat. He weighs 94 pounds.
Damn.
Easy. Good boy. There you go. That's my buddy. Yeah, I'm 94 pounds and I'm on a diet.
Yeah.
How much does Riggs weigh? Riggs is a big old boy.
He's 65. Actually, he's trimmed back a little bit. He's about 61 pounds. The vet said he needs to put on a few more pounds. Ideally, 65.
Well, you probably got a decent nearshore bite down at South Port Oak Island going on now, don't you?
Yeah, that's been the rumor here lately. The wind's blowing today. I was down there this morning doing some work on the boat. But, beforehand, I mean, the nearshore bite's been on fire everywhere, all up and down the coast. So just pick a location, and they've been catching fish pretty good.
What's biting down there, Pete? Some
Kings, Spanish, bonita, the cobia starting to show up now as well. Bluefish, reds, you name it. The whole works. You name it is out there right now.
Hey, baby, did you get that check deposited?
It being May, about how far or what depth of water would you be looking for to get as close as possible to shore if you were going to target kings?
If you want numbers, so traditionally off of Oak Island, you have a short period where you get big kings, and that short period is right now. So you got 2 weeks where you get what's called the big. They call them down there. They call them the big road kings, the big females that hit the beach. They hit the beach and they're gone within 2 weeks, and it's starting up right now. And when I say the beach, like within 100 yards to maybe 2 miles out. Normally this time of year, if you want a big king, you got to throw a large bluefish. That's the prime bait.
They're catching them on the piers right now. I heard they're catching some nice.
They're catching a couple, yeah.
Fish off the piers.
But that goes along with what you were saying, Pete.
The numbers have been about 15 miles out right now. Good numbers right now.
Okay.
I have a feeling that this spring and this year is going to make up for the lack of catching from last fall. So might be a good year. But
so you're probably looking at about 25 feet of water.
Yeah, 25, 35.
Yeah, I've never heard them called. What did you call them? Road kings?
Yeah, they call the big females road kings. When I say that,
now I've heard them called smokers. You know,
the road kings ones. Because they're coming into spawn.
Because they're coming into spawn. Okay.
Yeah. And they're big females, 35 to hell. there's normally a couple 50s caught this time of year. So I say a couple, you probably count one hand, honestly. But this is your time for a high 40s in my neck of the woods.
Now it's also fun to target some inshore species like your black drum, your red drum.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, there's pretty decent sized black drum being caught. I'm suspecting inshore right now.
It is, and I'll say that that kind of the red drums, trouts, that kind of stuff is kind of outside of my spectrum of fishing because I don't really do that very often. So, not the right guy to ask for the inshore stuff, other than we'll say like reds when they hit the reefs and stuff. But as far as your backwater stuff, I don't do that very often. So,
it being May, your water temps in the 60s, 70s. I think that your reds are probably starting to move out of the creeks out into the ocean, but you can still catch them. You can catch smaller puppy drum and slot size fish, all year round in there.
Yeah. It's got a text from John, by the way. He said he'll be on in about 10 minutes.
Okay. I like targeting the black drum though. I typically just I think a lot of guys will use a Carolina rig. I can't stand throwing a Carolina rig. I just throw a fresh shrimp on a jig head and just bounce it on the bottom. I'll go up in where the sawgrass and the oyster beds and all that stuff is, all those little creeks up in there. I'll just pull my boat up into some sawgrass where it'll just set still, and sometimes I'll anchor depending on the tide, and you just fan cast out with fresh shrimp on jig heads and just bounce them along the bottom, bringing them back to you real slow, and you can hammer some good black drum that way. I've never caught any monsters.
Your settings.
Yeah, that seems to be the way of doing it. And I've been told around docks as well. Certain prime docks are pretty good on the intercoastal.
Docks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of like bass fishing almost, when they take shelter under the docks.
Yeah. I bass fished Norman last weekend.
Sorry for you.
Real quick, I'll just touch on my little bass fishing experience. So we started the tournament, and I had no doubt I could catch 5 fish. I knew I could come to the weigh in with 5 fish. Hang on, Wes is trying to ask me something.
Go to allow Mike for his settings.
It should prompt him, and it should come up and say, "Do you allow or not?"
He said it should prompt you when you after you click on Chrome to enter. He said it hit allow.
Okay. Well, he should be good then. His speaker just must be not very good.
He said that this site does not allow his mic permission to do something.
Huh. He may have to go into settings and go to permissions.
Yeah. Go in your phone settings and make sure that it's.
Is he on an iPhone or Android?
Your iPhone or Android? Android. He's Android.
Okay. Let's see if I can help him right quick.
Hold on a minute. Jared's looking at it.
So you're not much of a bass fisherman, I take it, Pete.
Man, I feel like every fisherman out there in America started out bass fishing at some point. And then from there,
and graduated to something better.
You damn right, exactly. So to answer your question, no, I'm not a bass fisherman, but I have bass fished at some point.
Well, I'm the opposite. I never bass fished. And I know what you're saying. A lot of guys do start out that way. But I never did. I never really got to experience the whole bass fishing culture. So I'm doing it as a 44-year-old now.
Gotcha. I caught what's the state record at NC? Like 14.5.
For largemouth, I don't know, but the spot state
JR,
record is only 6.
JR,
yes, sir.
Can you call Kris right quick and walk him through this? You got his number?
Yeah, I don't have his phone number.
I'm okay. You want me to give me a number on here? Kris will text it to him. All right, JR, you got your phone ready?
Yep.
His number is. Hold on a minute. God damn it, I'm not ready. His number is 864 315 8328.
Okay.
All right, Kris, I'm hanging up.
I'm gonna mute myself for 2 seconds.
How about you go ahead? I'm gonna unmute myself so people knows.
Nah, I'm back. You are muted.
How about now?
There you go.
Okay. I left little, believe it or not, people said I don't get up early, but on a flat day like that, I'll try to get in as much fishing as I could. So we actually left Cricket Cove Marina about 20 after 5:30. It was still dark when I got out of the inlet. So anyway, we get out there in the first 2 hours, when you're fishing like that, and especially we hadn't had a bite, didn't see no action. I was marking a few things on the bottom, which might have been fish. Then you get, then you start thinking, oh hell, maybe, what's going on here? Which I didn't see nobody. I got my binoculars out. There's the one time I counted 65 boats on the ledge right there at McMorland. That tells you everything. So, and I don't know, did you see that picture the guy put on North Carolina offshore fishing of his radar? You can see all the boats there. I mean, it's just like boats was everywhere.
I did not.
So we're trolling for about 2 hours and nothing. And then Bobby, he said, Wes, look over there. What's them fish jumping? And I counted maybe 35 or 40. Blackfin tuna were coming up. And they wasn't busting bait. They were just coming up out of the water, I mean, they may have been running bait. We just didn't, you didn't see nobody swimming. So I kind of eased over that way. I couldn't turn too short because, we had lines out. We didn't get a bite. Well, about 10 minutes later, bam, bam, we had a 2-hitter, 2 rods go off smoking. I was like, hell yeah. So long story short, Bobby lost the first one on the shotgun rod. And then that was our first wahoo on the left rod that went off. So we got those fish in, and the cedar plug was, have you ever seen a cedar plug that was annihilated?
Oh, yeah.
Hadn't been used, brand new cedar plug, and it was splintered all to shit. Anyway, long story short, we had 2 hitters, 3 hitters. We had doubles on 3 different times, 1 triple and 1 quadruple. And it was just very, very, it's just hectic. When you get into dolphin like that, I've heard people having 6 and 8 rods go off at the same time, pulling that many rods go through a big school.
I mean, you were there with us, right? When we had dang 4, 5, 6.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we had 5 go off at one time.
I think we had every single damn rod that was in the water go off. I think we had 7 or 8 go off at one time.
Yeah, and then the wahoo. Then that wahoo hit, that last one, and I jumped up there and grabbed the rod. I said, shit, ain't nobody getting this rod right here. I knew what that was.
Yeah. I'm still disappointed that after a year almost, we're coming up on a year, you ain't still dang showed off none of them goddamn videos from all them dang.
Hey, JR, I've sent that stuff to JR, and I don't know how to make those videos, but did we caught like what, 60-something mahi?
I think about 30 something.
I don't know. We had more than 30.
Well, we could have. No, remember, we quit fishing from around noon because we just had enough.
Oh, okay.
I think 31 is what we kept, I believe, with the number. If my memory serves me right. Kris, you hear us?
Kris, can you hear us?
Yeah.
We don't hear you now. There you go.
Oh, you can?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Awesome.
Kris ran a little delay, I guess. It might be.
Can you still hear us, Kris?
That's that Dangerousville wireless.
Can you still hear us, Kris?
Get Barney on here. I think it's a good topic for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Oh, hell.
Seems like we had some technical difficulties last weekend, too.
Well, every time we get a new guest on here, usually it takes, because it took me a minute to figure out how to allow access to my mic and my video and going through Chrome. But I got it set up on my computer. Now I hate to do it from my phone. Kris, can you hear us? Kris, are you using earphones? Kris, take the earphones out. Do away with the earphones. Earphones. That's what's doing it.
All right, John, we're going to try to get some dialogue from you tonight.
Oh
Hopefully, it'll be
boy,
better
look at
than
the
last
little
week.
room over there.
Hey, that's that dude that was talking shit about Pete last week, ain't it?
That's
It
the
is.
porn star. That's the porn star over there.
It is.
John, how you doing tonight, brother?
Good. I hope you guys are. Sorry, I'm with my daughter who is getting ready for bed right now, so we're not in the fishing cave. We are in the playroom. But
Well, at least
excited
you
to-
can't hear us. You have headphones on, so that's a good thing.
Yep, that's why I went headphones. But excited to be on the best streaming fishing show out there. So thank you again for the invite.
You're welcome.
Ass kisser. Ass kisser.
So, John, how
Yes,
do
sir.
you and Pete know each other? Do you guys fish together? What's the story behind y'all?
So actually a few years ago, it was right after my grandfather passed away. I kind of got back into striper fishing. I had posted on Facebook or somewhere and basically said, "Hey, I'm fishing High Rock Lake, which is the Dead Sea. Anybody have any tips?" And Pete was nice enough to kind of reach out and give me some pointers on some artificials, live bait, and just kind of kept in touch from there.
Well, good deal.
Yeah.
So Pete ain't all bad then, is he?
To certain people, I am like you.
I've noticed.
So High Rock, is High Rock more of like a riverine reservoir, or does it have a lot of creeks? Does it stratify? Like, do you have a lot of flow coming through it, or does
High
it-
Rock is a mystery. It's I don't even want to call it a beautiful mystery. It's a dang piece of shit mystery. If anything else, it's a big body of water. It's kind of an open area with several creeks kind of going into it.
Now, where is it on the? It's on the Yadkin chain, correct?
Correct. It's the first lake. In,
Oh, it's the very
in
first lake on the chain.
It's got a lot of river, and then lake. But the creeks that feed it are very shallow, with the exception of, I'd say, one, maybe two. They're very short and they're very shallow. So these fish normally they'll run the river, or they'll run two creeks in particular. They'll go up and down.
Okay.
But it's just mystery still to this day. So
I think, like for example, on Lake Wiley, I don't think that lake stratified, like the top half of that lake from like Mill Creek up, or maybe Seven Oaks up. It's like you don't have any stratification because they pull so much water through there. But I think a lot of these lakes that don't necessarily stratify in the lake portion, if they have larger creek arms, the larger creek arms will actually stratify. I think that's somewhat of a phenomenon.
yeah, so
Like-
High Rock Lake averages about 20 foot. I mean, it's not a deep lake at all. It's 20 foot. You got some holes. I think it's a 55-foot hole, 65-foot hole, but 20 foot and shallower for the most part. So these
Okay.
fish, like I said, there's not a lot of fish, but it is absolutely jam-packed with bait. I mean, absolutely loaded.
That could be
How does
good and bad, right?
Unless you need it, then you can't find the bait, right, John?
I know that was the last or 2 weeks before we fished Cherokee. It was almost impossible to find, and usually you
Before I
can
forget,
find it easily.
Before I forget, by the way, John, I saw somewhere today, just announced a small little coffee can benefits striper tournament on Baden Lake, June 3rd.
June the 3rd.
Yep.
See what's going on that week.
First Saturday in June.
What's the benefit for us?
Some of the locals out there, I think there's a group of 3 guys that over the years have passed away, old timers, and it's a benefits tournament to honor them.
Oh, okay.
James Long said Chris Brown's confused to Scooter Brown. I think so, James. He's struggling. Let's see. Daryl Barney said High Rock's the small bait capital of North Carolina. So
Dollar
Daryl
Bill's
thinks that
size.
there's Dollar Bill's not small, Daryl.
Well,
You can get some big gizzards in there. They move.
Well, we got to compare Daryl to where he's fishing at. Dollar bills versus freaking whatever 16-inch skipjack there in Tennessee.
Well,
Yeah,
Daryl
you
says
compare-
he's the king of the Atkin, king of the
You
striper.
compare Daryl Barney to where he's buying bait at.
He says it's a greenhead lake.
I think Daryl Barney was king of the Yadkin. He's been dethroned a lot.
Well, listen, I heard you guys from y'all North Carolina boys, and I'm actually talking. I'm the only South Carolina boy on here, but y'all talk so much shit about y'all's lakes. What is y'all's best lake up there all around? If you had to pick one of y'all's lakes to fish, JR, which one would you fish?
Well, you got to think. We're
No, just which lake would you fish? It's a simple question.
well, there are some.
JR, which lake would you fish?
There are subdivisions. There's the Yadkin chain, and then there's the Catawba chain.
JR,
I gotta agree with JR on this. You got
but which lake would you fish if you had to choose? I mean,
you gotta break it down.
You're at
the egg or the chicken. Which lake?
This is like Carolina and Duke country. We don't know. They're the enemy. Yadkin chain's the enemy. The Catawba chain, we don't like the Yadkin chain, and vice versa. We actually have tournaments where we actually fight each other and go against each other.
Listen,
I am definitely not going to. If the Yadkin chain had a better lake, I wouldn't say it. I'm not going to admit it. I'm all Catawba. I'm a Catawba guy.
Okay, Pete.
Are we talking about what kind of fish? Just
in general, which lake? If you had to pick a lake to fish and you could only fish one, what lake would you fish?
If you want my answer, I got to give you a top two.
No,
because there's different species, Wes. You can't just choose one.
Listen. Let's don't get all
for striper or for catfish.
I'm talking about a lake, period. If you had one lake that you could fish in North Carolina, only one, which one would you choose?
Oh, that's easy.
Well, that's what I've been asking for 20 minutes.
Okay.
Are you going to Lake Norman?
I'm going to say Kerr.
Okay. Pete.
Lake Norman's my answer.
John.
You're going to take Norman over Kerr? I'm talking about Bugs Island.
Bugs Island, for sure.
Lake Norman, because I can get variety out there. I know where, what, when. It might not be big fish, but I can go target everything in one day.
All right, Chris Brown, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
We can barely hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. I can hear y'all.
All right, good. You got to straighten out. All right.
I don't know what I did, but I was good a minute ago, and it just went away. I was like, oh.
Hey, y'all, we got a viewer that's never viewed our show before, and her name is Heather McCullough. I wonder why she's watching tonight.
She has viewed the show, I promise you.
Okay.
Don't let her lie to you.
Oh, okay. All right, Kris.
What's up?
Tell us about your fish. How long you been fishing for that fish, and how it came to be.
GPS coordinates first, by the way. No, I'm kidding.
Well, hey, he got some Jeff Pill pins, is what I heard. I don't know.
Nah, man. That shit comes from
before you get
Creek.
started, Kris sent me some pictures of his fish because I asked him because I wanted a logo for this video, and he said, "Do me a favor and blur the background for me before you post that on there." I said, "Okay."
Well, can't show everybody what McKinney Creek is, right?
That's right.
McKenna. I remember hearing that rumor there, but yeah.
Go ahead, Kris. Tell us how you finally come tight with your dream fish. And where
Man, I'll be honest with you, man. I was like, I should have been off that lake an hour before, you know what I'm saying, before I caught that fish. And every point I come to, I'm like, all right, the next point I'm reeling in. All right, the next point I come to, I'm reeling in. But that went on about 6 or 8 points, and I was like, screw it. When I turn around and get back to that point, then I'm going to reel in. So I turned around, started heading back up, and started cleaning the boat up, straightening everything up with the rod still out. And I damn noticed my outside rod and the board, you know what I'm saying, was just slowly going down. I thought I was home. So I went back there and picked up on it. When I picked up on it, that's when I felt it, you know what I'm saying, pull back. Dude, I reared back to everything I had and crossed them eyes. And when I did that, man, all I seen was the board and the line come up to the top of the surface, and all I seen was a tail just paddling back and forth away from it, just steady, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I locked that drag down with everything I had on it, and it was still just a slow, steady, just clicking that drag.
What kind of reel did you have it on?
It was on the Abbott, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't reset the drag on it, you know what I'm saying, what it was and what it is. And I had the trolling motor pointing north, and hell, it was still pulling the fucking boat, you know what I'm saying, to the side. So I turned the trolling motor off and just let it drag me. I mean, I didn't realize how big it was till it got next to the boat. When it got next to the boat, I swear to God, it looked like if it had hands and feet, it looked like the way it looked to me, like I'll climb in that damn boat my damn self and whoop your ass. It was pissed. It was pissed that I was beside myself shaking, man. That's been 7 years chasing that fish. 7 years.
Now that was on Hartwell, correct?
That is. That's right.
That would have definitely won a SBC on Hartwell, especially the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
It jerks some damn necks. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yep. Congratulations, man.
Nice.
I appreciate it, man.
Beautiful
I'm
fish.
telling you, I was shaking, and I guarantee you, everybody within 20 miles heard me hollering that day.
So, did you get some measurements on it?
It was just a touch over 46 inches.
Nice.
That's a lot longer than I thought.
My daughter, she's right at 4 foot tall, and it was you know what I'm saying, it was almost as tall as she was with the fin stretched completely out. It was you know what I'm saying, right there with her. So from the inside fork of the tail fin to the tip of the nose, just a touch over 46.
Wow.
I was kind of thumbing through some of the comments over the last week. Not getting into it. Kind of funny, man. But I'll say this: ain't no damn shame keeping that damn fish, man.
Man. Hey,
it's like anything else, man. It's not as if you're gonna mount it.
I dropped her off today at the taxidermy.
Yeah,
Who
awesome.
you gonna let do it?
It's like if you get a replica, it's like it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's not as special as mounting the real thing, in my opinion.
Yes.
Now, some guys are different, with that.
Chris, I
philosophy
wanted
there,
to tell you, and you said you'd already dropped it off, and I don't know, Pete, John, y'all may know this guy. I know you do, JR, but if I had it to do over again, Phil Helms is probably one of the best taxidermists on the East Coast. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of him or not. You ever heard of him, JR? He's from He's out of North Carolina.
No, Mike Grooms has always done all my friends' fish. I've never had a fish mounted, but all of my friends that's had them mounted have always used Mike Grooms. Why is John muted?
Just background noise.
Oh, you muted yourself?
Yeah, I just muted myself.
Okay.
Kids screaming, probably.
Now, who's doing yours, Chris?
Drew Island Taxidermy, guy that Skipper put me on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I called a guy, and I ain't gonna say his name because I told him I wouldn't mention his name. But he said, Wes, what a lot of people don't realize about these fish is, like anything in life except a diamond, they've got a lifespan. He said, when fish get that big, he said that fish may have lived another 2 or 3 years, maybe if it would have been lucky. But he said that fish was probably close to his end.
Yeah.
He said
and it's not like they're breeding.
Yeah. And he said odds are, he said a fish that big, after you hook it, fight it and stress it, he said that fish would have probably, if he had to guess, unless it was starving and there was no bait around, he'd have probably never hit again.
Now, if you catch that one on the Roanoke River, let it go, get a replica, because those fish can actually reproduce up there. But if you're just fishing a lake and it's just there's no chance of any reproduction, then you're not really doing any harm.
I mean, here's my thing, man. If I went out to the bar and caught a 50, it'd go right back. If I caught a 60, you know what I'm saying, within reason of it being state record or whatnot, it'd go back. And I got asked, I was like, well, if you're going to do that, why'd you keep the 40? I was like, there's my first one, and I always told myself, if I catch 140 or above, it's going on the wall. And that's what I did. It took me 7 years to do it, but that's what I did.
And not only that, but it was from Lake Hartwell.
Yeah.
That's
out of my backyard. That meant more to me than anything than going to Tennessee and like everyone says, hitting the easy button, so to speak, and catching one up there and bringing it back and putting it on the wall.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna tell you how shitty my
hold on a
state
minute
is.
now. Hold on. Chris Brown, you've been happy as a motherfucker.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't be.
Alabama or Nebraska or Florida.
Dude, it wouldn't matter if that fish come from Canada. If it was over 40 pounds, it was going on the wall. But it means more. It means more to me that it come out of my backyard than me, saying going out of state and bringing it back home that way.
I get it for sure. So tell you how shitty my state is. I told myself my first NC 20 is going on the wall. Fucking 15 years later, it ain't happened yet.
Yeah.
And
you can do it out of high rock
and all that, but
I tell you though, man, it's been a good week out there. I've caught a lot of decent fish, But I felt like Paul Wall this week. Got the internet going nuts. I tell you, my phone was blowing up, and people wanting to go fishing and wanting to be friends with me. I don't even know who the hell they are.
Yeah, you're famous now.
Hey, Chris.
Yo.
I got to tell you, I had 4 people. 3 of them. The other guy, I didn't even know him. Messaged me and said, you and Chris are good friends, aren't you? And I said, well, it depends on what day it is. I said, what can I do for you? And they said, "Did he really catch that fish in Hartwell?" I said, "I don't know, man. You'll have to ask him." They said, "Do you know about did he on the upper end?" I said, "Man, you have to ask Kris." I told 4 different people that.
Yeah, they had a Striper King tournament that Saturday. So the day or 2 days after I caught that fish, they had a Striper Kings tournament. So yeah, a lot of them guys was hitting me up wanting to know, which way I caught that fish. And that fish got tails, man. They might be here tomorrow and 5 miles down the river. You know what I'm saying? In 2 days. So
yeah, indeed.
So Peter, back to the Yakin chain. Which what would you say is your best lake for big stripers on the Yakin chain?
Well, it's kind of debatable. High Rock for big striper, but I mean, you might fish 5 days for 1 bite, honestly.
Now, didn't they have an SPC on High Rock a couple years ago?
Let me finish real quick. Here lately, and I was going to answer Barney's comment right here. The last 2 weeks, there has been a uptick of striper caught on Baden between 10 and 14 pounds. And this is confirmed by a couple friends that have actually been fishing out there a good little bit, and they're all catch and release. So that is a pretty damn good sign, hopefully, of what's to come maybe the next year or two, possibly. So my new answer now is Baden Lake for sure.
Okay. That's what Daryl said.
So how do you see everyone else's comments?
You might have a hard time on your cell phone, possibly.
Yeah.
Kris, again, buddy, congratulations. That's why I called you. When I started reading those comments, Daryl Grice, he's another piece of shit. I don't like him. If anybody's watching that likes him and knows him, make sure you tell the son of a bitch I said he's a piece of shit. The first fish I caught, and when I caught mine on Russell, and it wasn't like 25, 26 pounds. I had been striper fishing 3 months. I'd done been to Russell 5 times. I pulled the paint off planer boards, and wasn't catching the fish. And somebody gave me some advice. They said, go to a creek, go to the back of a creek, put your trout out and pull them out. So that's what I did.
Uh-huh.
So I finally wound up with a nice fish. So I took a picture of it in front of Coates Outdoors. I'm going to have it mounted. And this old dusty bastard just blasted me all over Facebook, said I was killing fish. I mean, it just went on and on and on. Needless to say, we're not friends anymore. But, it's a fish. And when you work that hard for something that many years, it's not like you're going out here killing every 10 and 15 and 20 pound fish you catch. It's one fish. I caught a 50 pound fish, a little over 50 pounds in Tennessee. That's the only fish till this day I've ever purposely killed in freshwater, the only one. And just like Kris said, if I caught a 55 tomorrow in freshwater, that fish, I'd let it go. Yep. I got what I wanted. I got mine in 3 years. Fact being, the main thing is I was fishing in a lot better fishery than what we have here, than what Kris was fishing in. And the fact that I was in Tennessee and I got lucky. And Pete, won't you tell John, Daryl Barney, I'll take luck, especially in a tournament.
Oh, I'll take luck any day.
Oh, yeah.
So right. Congratulations on the fish. Don't let nobody tell you no different. It's an awesome fish, brother, and you deserve it.
Oh, dude, I turned my notifications off on Facebook for 2 days. I ain't kidding you. Every 10 minutes, my phone was going off.
Nice.
Daryl Barney, can you hear me?
What's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Last excursion, I heard that you put a whooping on them and made them 18 fish, me and Shane Howitson called a couple of years ago. I heard you bypass that and then some.
I got really lucky. I pulled in the Katy Fork and
Dale, just tell everybody. I'm not going now.
I caught 26 fish on Sunday. The biggest was 42. I caught a 42, a 34, a 30, a 29, 4 25s, and 4 more from 20 to 22.
Sweet.
That is insane.
It's one of the best days. Me and Todd and Anthony had a day that would have closely rivaled it, but it's.
Were y'all? Oh, you're talking. You and Todd and Anthony. You're talking about in the past.
Yes. No, this was just me. No guides along. None of that. I had 4 guys fishing with me who had broke down from Oklahoma. I went up to fish them as a nice guide, and it all paid off. So
that's why I was about to ask you, was that a guy trip that you took?
Yeah, they put you on the fish.
Somebody on.
Luckily,
No,
luckily, some guides from Oklahoma broke down, and you helped them out, so they put you on some fish. Is that what happened?
And I talked to one of those guys today.
No, I did what they wanted to on Saturday, JR, and we caught 2 fish. And I told them, I said, let's do what I want to today. And I saw some bait up in the Caney Fork at 8 o'clock at night on Saturday. And I said, we're going to get us 50 of these, and we're coming back in here in the morning. And that's exactly what I did. I did what nobody says can be done, and I ain't bragging, but I caught fish in the Caney Fork on gizzards.
Come on.
I've always said that.
And
That's
I
awesome.
caught them on. I caught every fish on the 8-inch gizzard. And I don't care who knows it. We put them on. I put out 6 lines that morning, and we just smoked them. Smoked them in an area where you ain't supposed to catch fish, where nobody really fishes.
Oh no, hey Daryl, a lot of people. Year before last, I watched a guy catch 12 up there in one spot cut baiting.
Right.
Less than half a mile up in the Caney.
Right. It was. I mean, I'll be honest. I just caught fish that wanted to bite. I mean, I caught the 42. Me and the guys laughed because I told them, I said, if I'd have told you yesterday at 1 o'clock in the day in 84-degree heat, we're going to catch a 42-pounder, y'all would laugh me out of the boat. And everybody says, oh, that's because of the full moon. Guys, we caught fish from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock and didn't caught that one. I mean, it wasn't, I had 2 doubles and 1 triple. And the guys asked me to quit going on Facebook Live because they were kind of partying a little bit. Or a whole lot, I'd say, and they all work public jobs, and they were like, "Man, you really ain't going live." I was like, "Yeah," but I'll be honest, I wouldn't have went live if I would have knew I was going to have today. I really hadn't caught anything in East Tennessee all year long. And y'all know I fished it very hard. I mean, I've been there 3 weekends out of 4 every month since like March, and I mean with 2 and 3 fish days and a lot of zeros for the first time ever. I mean, a 0 in Tennessee is like you're a loser. But, I mean, I ain't the only one doing it. But that was one more of a fire. It goes down in history. You know what I mean? For me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we really, really had a good time. It was a ball. The guy got the biggest fish. He kept the 42. We released everything else. I don't blame him. It was a 42-pound male. If you look in the picture, you'll see all the jizz on the boat. It was really unbelievable.
I saw
water
that.
temp.
I saw that photo. I'm like, damn.
I didn't know the males got that big. I was with David Church. He caught a 36-pounder that he mounted in a 40 in the same day, and the 36 was a male at Watts Bar when we very, very first started fishing up there. That was before I even bought Anthony's boat. But it was an awesome day.
That's the guy that you sent me on the bank on a bucket for, right?
Yeah, something like that. I was going to tell you, Wes, and that ain't no joke. Phil Hams passed away this year after battling cancer.
Oh, yeah, I seen that comment.
He was the best of the best, but he did. He fought it for a little while and passed away. But Church had his 2 fish mounted by him, and it's an unbelievable mount. He did beautiful work.
So let me change the subject here real quick. So you said you caught some that big fish was a male, okay? Do you think that, if you're catching a bunch of males, you think the females are like right there or not far behind, somewhere nearby?
I only caught 3 male fish, and I say that because I'm not a biologist, but that was the only one that did what males do. And all the rest of them that was above 20 was super fat, Peter. I think those fish were right inside at the water break. And I say this because, I mean, it's all going to change because the whole place got muddy. But it's where the Cumberland runs into the Katy, and it was into the point where I think the water mixed, and they were just staging right there. That's the only moving water in the area, and I think they were going to go up and spawn.
So
I really don't.
There's a reason why I asked
that I caught them on planer board sitting still.
I
would stop it and play with it with the remote and take it away from them, and I force fed most of those fish. It was crazy. When they would blow up, it's the greatest thing you ever saw. It looked like you throw 2 8-inch center blocks in, and they did that all. They missed it every time. I told Wes earlier. I mean, it was just crazy. It's like they were all blind, and they weren't. Y'all seen fish like when they try to swat at it, and then they'll come back and kill it. It wasn't that at all. They were just missing it, and I think they were sitting. I don't know what they were doing, but it was some of the best explosions I ever seen in my life. And then to actually catch them, a lot of times when they do that, you just don't catch them. But we had a awesome day. I quit at 3 o'clock because I had to get home and come to work the next day. But we left fish biting. My guys wasn't happy, but I fished them 14 hours the day before. Like I say, it wasn't no guide trip. It wasn't none of that. I made 4 really good friends, and that's how it ended up.
Nice. There's a reason why I asked about that whole male female thing, because I want to backtrack there to the tournament on Cherokee, most recent. So as you know, we pre-fished a couple days, and on the second day, I think it was, we kept 4 fish. And just like you say, man, they're fat. You would have thought for damn sure they're females. Okay. And so when I filleted them up, I was shocked that every single damn fish was a male. And
Right.
it was a 10, 10 and a half, 11 and a half pounder. They
Well,
were
I'll be honest,
males.
Pete. I don't know, because I assumed because the rest of
Yeah.
the males were jigging
Oh, yeah.
or whatever
I get
that it was. But I mean that they could have been, because a
Yeah,
guy
so-
who fishes up there actually all the time, who I would consider
Mhm.
the expert.
So everyone that
deal.
fishes knows that usually the female is the bigger fish.
That's correct.
So that told me right there, if I'm catching males in that spot, damn good chance the females are somewhere right there nearby.
What
And
was the
so-
water temp, Daryl?
So that forced me to stay
58
in that area.
degrees. It's 58 degrees, and we came up
That's
Cumberland from the ramp. I know Wes has probably been. It's that ramp that's like so steep you can't walk it. Wes up there at the dam. We come
Yeah.
up through there and got waved down by a boat that I thought something bad had happened. It ended up the fish were blowing up first thing that morning, and we chased them and never could. They stayed like 200 yards. I even run the big motor trying to, where they would come up next, and they still come up 100 yards. And that was in the Cumberland, and that was that morning. So the fish were definitely active. They were, I mean, it wasn't no doubt it was stripers in the Cumberland. I mean, they were, excuse me, blowing water like 4 foot out in the air. But we never got
Cheyenne Upton and them wound up with 17, 3 over 40. And you know what they caught their fish on? Red fins. Throwing artificial.
Well, these guys probably caught 6 of those fish on glide baits, and they were fishing like small glide baits, not big profile baits. And I tried to get them to throw a red fin, and the guy kept throwing it, but he wouldn't fish it. He wouldn't wake it out. He was swimming it. And I said, man, I know it looks good. Excuse me. But I said, they won't hit it like that. And he said, man, it looks so good. I said, I get it, but they will, if you'll fish it on top, but they would not throw it like it, and fish it back. It would have been a red fin day the way they were blowing up.
Yeah, and guys,
Like,
they're listening. When Daryl says glide baits, he's talking about like that mag draft, or big segmented baits, stuff like that.
All right. They were
subsurface baits.
One of them, JR, was 5 inches, and the other one was called an 8-inch, but it wasn't but like 1.5 inches wide. So they were some of the smallest profile.
You're saying that the top water, like a float minnow wake bait, like a red fin, would have been a better option in that situation than a glide bait, something that's subsurface?
I don't know that. It just looked like to me it would have been a red fin day because the way the fish were exploding on top.
I think so. I think so.
They would hit those shad when they got up top. I'm telling you, I was fishing shad, and you could tell every time they would knock the planer board the first time back about a foot when the fish got after them, and the second time they'd jerk it back 2 foot, and everybody'd go nuts. And I'd say, hold on, that's the bait. But, I mean, these were some of the prettiest shad I've ever caught in my life, and they were perfect size for boards. Now, I did nothing special. I mean, nothing. I just fished planer boards, no weight. I fished fluorocarbon. Anthony went right behind me and caught a 36.
Anthony Johnson told me y'all was using banjo minnows.
Well, Anthony's liable to tell you anything. I'm on here telling you the truth. I mean, just because, I mean, it's, I think the fish are gone now. I think they're probably going up high or gone somewhere else. And Anthony fished the next day, and at 11 o'clock, the mud rolled in on him because it flooded me before I got out of there at 3 o'clock. And then that rained all that night. And Anthony said while he was sitting there, he watched it. He could see the mud line coming and sticks and everything else. But I've been told that it clears really quick. I don't know. I honestly don't know anything about it. I've been there one time. I bent my prop and lost my skeg on that trip. And I'll be honest, at the end of the day, I didn't even care. Anthony said he'd get my skeg fixed for $200, and I bent that prop and had it straightened as a stainless prop 4 times. I'm going to aluminum, and I own a jet drive. So next time I go back, I'm going with a jet because I figured the fish would be somewhere else. But I promise you, I'm going back.
Well, I put a brand new 150 Suzuki on my Sea Hunt, a brand new motor. Just got it broke in. I think it might have had 13, 14 hours on it. The first time it hits Tennessee water, I let Todd Asher try to get us up to 61 degrees because a storm was coming up. Needless to say, I didn't have a skeg no more.
Well, mine's not leaking. I mean, does a skeg? I'll just ask y'all because I really don't know. I mean, does a skeg make that much difference? Because I'm gonna try to wait till winter before I fix it.
When you're trying to get up on plane, it will.
It don't turn good.
It will not turn good.
No.
But Kris Layton asked how's road hiss a while back. I'll touch on that real fast, Kris. Road hiss is a riverine reservoir. The water temp on road hiss now is about 56 degrees, and those fish will go up into the river. Into the river portion on road hiss, and right now it's a little early to be way up in the river, so a lot of guys will start coming out of the lake, and right when it starts to get a little skinny is where probably a lot of the fish are coming from on road hiss. As far as the size of the fish go, you're looking at 20-pound fish is common. 30-pound fish you're kind of is much less common, but people do catch them. And I think you could probably get a 40 out of there, but it's gonna be rare. But there are some 40s in there. It's probably the biggest striper. It's probably other than Lookout Shoals, it's probably the best trophy striper lake on the Catawba chain.
Hey JR, show us a picture of Chris's fish. You never did put it up.
So for me, my answer on the where would I fish in North Carolina was baiting to start with. Because I've caught 2 fish down there over 20, and road hiss is the best place to fish for anything. I mean, all the Tennessee guys call that Little Tennessee. You know, all the old school guys. They some nice fish in road hiss on average, but just like fishing. It's like fishing the Cumberland. It's like a two bite day. It's tough, but when they run in the river and get in them potholes, it's pretty good.
I don't know if you've seen Daryl, but here in the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of 10 to 14 pound fish coming out of Baden. So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come.
So I talked to the guy that I was fishing that tournament with, and he said that he had been catching some teens that was like for the first time in a while pretty regular.
Oh, what's his name?
Trolling.
Yeah, yeah, trolling, rolling. Didn't his damn boat break down though? He ain't been fishing in the last week or so, or the last 2 weeks.
He says he can't get the parts. He's always fighting boat trouble.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I've seen what he fishes in. I'm like, damn, it's just time to rip that damn thing off.
He stands in 6 inches of water all the time, but I mean, I ain't making fun. He's doing the best he can. He's actually a pretty good fisherman, and I know you know that, but he's got a terrible name, and that whole pay lake thing, he's the worst of it. So
yeah,
he kind of asked for it too. He tries to defend all that, but at the end of the day, he wasn't a bad guy.
I'll tell you, JR is probably not going. I know JR and a lot of these trophy catfishermen don't like these pay lakes, but if it wasn't for a pay lake, I may not have never started fishing because, when I was a kid, my mom worked in a textile mill. And I cut grass to pay my fishing fee to be able to fish Grosh's and Red's Fishing Lake. And I know y'all probably had never heard of those lakes. And that's what got me fishing. And actually, it was catching big catfish, but it was in a pay pond. And I understand the thing about trophy catfishing and blah, blah, blah. But that's what got me started in fishing. And
I love pay ponds. I think pay ponds are great.
For carp.
No, even for catfish, I think they're great. What's wrong with them? There's nothing wrong with a pay catfish.
I thought y'all didn't like the pay ponds because they kill trophy catfish to put in them.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. You're talking. There's 2 different kinds of pay lakes for catfish. Are you talking about the trophy?
Yeah.
I hate those. I hate those. I think those people are to be put out of business. I can't stand them. I wouldn't piss on them if they was on fire.
Damn.
I know, right?
I mean, I'll be honest, in North
those
Carolina,
people are to be. They ought to be ashamed of
Go ahead,
themselves
Joe.
for not making regulations and putting a stop to that and cracking down on that. It's absolutely shameful. Those people ought to be ashamed of themselves. So you talk, they're trash. Those are the trash of the earth. Those people are.
But in their defense, JR, catfish aren't a sport fish. So
They should be, by God. They should be. They just as much of a sport fish as a striper is.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
At least the catfish, at least the trophy catfish doesn't have to rely on the government to stop.
No one gives a damn
You don't
about
want to get in this
catfish.
debate
Shut up.
with me. Yes, yes, they do. The catfish industry is the fastest growing industry in fishing.
Y'all
No
the
one
most
cares
salty
about
people on
fucking
earth.
catfish.
I don't know. All fishermen.
Okay, well, what if you went to the Caney Fork, Daryl? What if you went to the Caney Fork and all you caught was little farm-raised channel stripers? I mean, you'd be a little salty too. You know, talk to those guys on the Ohio River and the Mississippi River. What's happening to their fisheries and their rivers? They used to be
Channel striper.
I got to use that one.
channel stripers.
Channel striper.
I think in North Carolina, the predominant.
I gotta see a picture of that one.
Cat fishery that
Hey,
does
where's
JR
Chris's
and
picture
everybody
at?
carp fishes. And I think the carp do very well in them lakes.
Yes, they do.
You know, I used to carp fish, you know, for money, and it was great fun. I don't know about catfish.
Hey, where's
I mean, you
Chris's
showed
picture,
some of those
Joel? Did you
videos
find
of
it?
those catfish starving to death. That's wrong. I get that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it seems like there's catfish everywhere.
Yeah.
There are catfish everywhere.
Catfish are like
Just not
tilapia.
trophy.
They'll
Just
eat
not
their own
trophy
damn
catfish.
shit and grow.
Catfish are like stripers, you know. Their genetics.
Catfish is like
Where's
Hearing
Chris's
echo.
picture, JR? Did you find it?
Yeah, I got it right here, bud.
So, KB,
Yo.
congratulations, bro.
Thank you, man.
Heck of a fish.
Appreciate that.
And becoming internet famous.
Yeah,
Man.
that's right. Instantly.
Paul
Dang.
Wall over here.
Oh, why you got to blur the background? Come on. Look how clear the water is. He was in the river, y'all. He was in the river.
Yeah, I got some more pictures, but I didn't have time to blur the backgrounds on them, so I'm not gonna show those. But
That's Conross, right?
Yeah, that was I hit the Kiwi Dam. I had to turn around and go back down.
yeah,
Kiwi
Chris is a big
River's
guy.
on
Good
fire.
fish, man.
Yeah, that fish was
world
46
says you
a
caught
little
it
over
in
46
Russell, but I know
inches.
you wouldn't lie.
What's that?
The whole world says it come out of Russell, but I know you wouldn't lie. I know you proud.
That fish ain't come out of Russell. I wish the hell it did. It'd be 50 pounds.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's everything I've heard. Oh, that fish come out of Russell. Ain't nothing like that. Well, we
You know what they say about haters, right? You know what they say about haters.
Oh yeah, Pete will tell you we saw two fish that the guys were showing on their phone. Remember Pete at the Strike Bass Challenge that was over 30 that they'd caught like 2 days before
Oh, yeah.
out of
Yeah.
Hartwell.
All right.
Remember that, Pete?
Yeah.
They were legit big fish.
Yeah.
There's some fish in there, but first was definitely
Well,
a
it's like
unicorn.
anything
40
else, you know.
out of Hartwell.
There's always that pre-tournament curse, no matter what. Like, for example, you know, when we were at the at Cherokee the day before, someone caught 24, you know. So, oh my God, someone, you know, it's a whole uproar. Everyone's always like, oh, he's got 30, well, watch out for him. But, you know, fucking choke tournament day.
Well, yeah, and I think
Hey,
at
Pete,
the dinner they were
Wes
saying
will
that
vouch
at
for me.
45
Todd's
pounds is
daddy-
going to win the tournament.
Todd's daddy pre-fished the guy on Friday and caught a 27. And I promise you, if Joe said he caught a 27, he caught 27, didn't he, Wes?
Uh-huh.
You know, Dale, it's like you were saying a minute ago, them fish were blowing up, hitting your, missing your bait. You know, I caught that fish on a Bluebird Sky day, and I couldn't tell you how many blow-ups I had where they just wasn't hooking up. The only thing I can think of is, man, they getting blinded by that sun when they come up. So I slowed way the hell
You
down,
have a
man.
pretty good
Slower
point,
than I've
Chris,
ever told them all out.
Did you have any
Oh,
weight?
Daryl, the guy
This is
that
That's a
pretty
good
low.
was
point,
with
'cause I caught
Joe, the guy that was with Joe Friday that caught that fish is the guy that I buy
Yes.
bait from now here when I fish in South Carolina. He was my bait man here.
Right. Joe said they smoked them that day. They had a really good day. I think the guy had 3 fish really early the next day, but he never could get that giant.
Uh-huh.
Joe's the man up there. But KB, that's a good point. I never even thought about that because I was in 5 foot of water, so the fish was sitting on top. So I bet the sun did affect it.
Well, that's like I said, man. I slowed down and trolling slower than I ever had before. I mean, after 10 blow-ups and no hookups, I mean, I tried something different, you know.
Well,
what'd you catch him on, Kris?
Mine down and then take it away from
Cut bank banjo, man.
Was it painted red for effect?
I was dragging a tail backwards with it cut in half.
All mine was
artificial.
So, John Longer.
Yes, sir.
John, what's your biggest fish?
My biggest fish is a 22.
Striper?
Striper.
Caught on the yakking chain?
No. That was Smith Mountain Lake.
Oh, okay.
I've
never had the pleasure of fishing Smith Mountain. Smith
Well,
Mountain looks so beautiful looking at it on Google Earth. And I've always heard that it was a really great like casting points at night in the spring for stripers. I've always wanted, that's one of my bucket list things to do. Wouldn't be that hard. It's not that far away. I mean, right now would actually be a good time to go do that.
Well, I don't know, the boat traffic up there, it's about like Lake Norman.
Yeah, well, I like to get on the water about 10 o'clock at night and fish till about 4 in the morning.
There's a lake. What's the lake down in Georgia that everybody used to talk about? I can't think of the name of it.
Y'all get in the river right now, you'll get a 20 in North Carolina. They're there.
You guys are talking over each other.
There ain't a bunch of them.
What did you say,
Pete was
Daryl?
supposed to go tomorrow.
There's a 20 in the river?
Get in the Yadkin River. Yeah, I promise you, they're there. There's one behind me. The first one I ever caught over 20, I mounted. That's it right there. 22 pounds.
We can't see
I caught
nothing.
it at a 7-pound. So what?
You talking about we can see it now, but you're turning, that's not the fish, Daryl.
Looking at your face.
Are you drunk?
Maybe.
No.
There you go.
There you go.
I like it. That's awesome.
No, I'm just not. I'm not a videographer. I'm a Doug Cole with a telephone.
So Daryl, how far up the Yadkin?
But
all the way to Idles Dam, right?
I caught that fish at Idles Dam in a 7-pound, 15-ounce largemouth. It's mounted beside it in 2 casts.
Dang.
Not
So
the first 2 casts, but back to back on a bucktail.
I've caught a 14-pound largemouth and didn't even give a shit about it and threw it back.
Stop lying.
Well,
I swear to God. As a kid.
That's been probably 10 years ago, Pete. But because I caught them both and I was going to a taxidermist, I said, what a good story. And I caught a T1.5 at Baden like 6 years ago.
Nice.
Which everybody at the ramp told me was the biggest fish they had seen since the 90s. But I caught
how big was he?
And I got a buddy named Frankie Flippin who fishes the river literally 3 times a week from Virginia, and he catches 20s, a few every year out of the Yadkin. I mean, it ain't like every trip. I don't mean
you sound about as lucky as my friend Alan.
How big did you say you got that one 6 years ago?
Said, so what?
So you say you got one that 6 years ago?
I'll send you a picture.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
on Baden, right?
I caught it out of a ski boat. So what?
Gotcha.
I caught it in a dam, at the dam on a balloon. I put a balloon out to keep people out off of me because there were so many people up there. It wasn't a balloon. It was actually a pier cork that I had. That's before I knew about balloons. It's before I ever went to Tennessee. And I was fishing a ski boat with a rod holder in the back. That was my stepdad's at the time because I was in between boats. And
I don't understand
it was
why all y'all fools are fishing all this freshwater when you go out there in saltwater and just be in a totally different fucking
Oh, hell, hush.
No,
Didn't you just buy a freshwater boat?
Yeah, to take my grandson around here.
How many times your grandson been on that boat, Wes?
4.
All right, how many times that boat been out?
4.
Oh, lie.
Hey, and that's
When's
when I
that
can't
boat
go
coming to
offshore.
Tennessee, Wes?
Hey, listen. I promise you, just like this year, every weekend that I can get offshore, you can bet your ass you're not going to see me in that green boat.
Hey, that's fine by me. That leaves more late for me to fish.
Y'all can have it.
So,
Y'all can
Dare,
have
I want to tell you a little story here real
y'all
quick.
can have Tennessee.
Okay, go ahead, Pete.
So it's been about 6-7 years ago. I hooked a nice striper there in the treetops on Baden Lake, just below Glades, kind of between Glades and Lake Forest. And I
I know
fought
where
that
the
bad boy
treetops
for
are
quite a
at.
while. What's that?
Nothing. Go. Keep
I
going,
said I
Pete.
know the
Right.
treetops.
Yeah, so I fought that bad boy for quite some time, and like I said, I had visual of him several times. He was definitely over 20. Lost his ass in the treetops, and about, I'd say 3 days later, someone caught a 23-pounder at the mouth of Glades. And I swear to this day, up and down, left and right, that's the same damn fish that I had.
Yeah.
So the one I caught was at the dam. You know where they used to have the that thing that measures the waves or whatever, like the little cart looking thing that sit out there. 6
Yeah.
years ago, it may still be there. You know what I'm talking about? I anchored
Yeah.
up below it and in the middle, and we were catching them pretty good with the dang bracelet glow sticks on planer boards. And I just planer boarded those little water bugs is all I had. I mean, this is like, I'd never pulled boards. I had been down there with my stepdad, and we had pulled literally like road runners and was catching fish on like crappy rigs. And I had went back and caught some shad, and I was up there pulling those boards because that's what Trolling Roland had told me the way he's been catching the fire at them at the dam. So I trolled around in there, and the water got so strong, I just put them out there and put out like 6 planer boards, and I put that long line out because everybody was trolling on top of my stuff just to keep people off the back of me. Never expected. It was a green and white pier cork, and that fish hit it and did a backflip on it.
Mm.
Hey, real quick, Wes, how many
JR,
boats
I
went out
caught him
last
an
Friday?
ambassador.
That's awesome. Go ahead, John.
How many boats went out last Friday? Because I heard it was didn't you go offshore?
When I got out to the ledge, I've seen a lot of boats. We got out there a little bit early, about 8:30, 15 till 9. I got my binoculars out, and I counted like 63, 64. And about lunchtime, they started, kind of thinning out a little bit because everybody, I heard somebody on the radio said there were some weed lines out in about 500 feet of water. And then I seen about 15 boats crank up and go east. But yeah, there was a lot of boats. One guy put on the North Carolina offshore page, he took a picture of his Garmin, of his radar, and I was trying to count the dots, and there was like 56 or 57 dots. But there again, Friday, we had like 1 footers, 1.2, 1 foot at 13 to 15 seconds apart. That's flat. I mean, I ran out 42 miles an hour.
So you counted 60 boats, so probably 47 of them were guys that watched our show and got those numbers from you.
I don't know, but it was,
did y'all put some numbers out there?
I had 2 friends on my boat. Actually, Jimmy, Kris, I don't know if you know Jimmy Bishop. He does the bass tournaments every Thursday on Salute over here.
They still do that?
Yeah. Well, Jimmy's dying. Well, he's in remission right now, but Jimmy's got pretty close to dying with cancer. And he's still taking a lot of different chemos. And then my friend Bobby Owens, he was my childhood friend. I met Bobby when I was about 7 years old. So, and there again, neither one of those guys had never been offshore, didn't have a clue what was going on. And we got out there on a day where, we had 2 hitters, 3 hitters, 4 hitters. So you can imagine nobody to drive the boat. I'm trying to keep the boat straight, help them, show them how to fight fish. And I think we lost 5, maybe 6 fish. I had 1 cedar plug. The first fish that we hit was on the shotgun rod, the first 2 hitter. and it literally, I don't know what that fish was. It smoked that Abbott 6/0 reel. He got 400 yards of line easy, and it splintered. It just tore that cedar plug all through hell. But
Think it
anyway,
was a wahoo?
yeah, I think it was a wahoo, by the way, which somebody said it could have been a big yellowfin, but I don't believe a yellowfin could do
I'm
it.
guessing the big blackfin, honestly. Big blackfin.
Yeah, that's what somebody else said. It could have been a blackfin. But, I mean, it just destroyed that cedar plug. And then, you know, they said that they weren't done. They wanted to catch some big fish. So I'll go over to Lori's bottom. It's a live bottom I found out there last year that has produced fish every time I've bottom fished it. Every time. You know what I'm talking about, JR? And the amberjack were there. And it was just, I was watching it on my depth finder. We're in 165 foot of water. And I was watching those amberjacks where they're sitting on the bottom. They're coming up, hitting that bait at like 60 and 70 feet before it can even get to it. And Pete, I'm using 12-ounce bar weight, you know, because the current. So that's how fast it's dropping. The amberjacks, you could watch them 3 or 4 seconds after you hook up. I could look back at my depth finder and you could see where they were coming up off the bottom, nailing that bait.
You guys, you can catch all these fish just at your backyard lake. Like I could go down to Lake Wiley, needle nose gar. That's like a wahoo.
A bougie wahoo.
Amberjack. That's like a buffalo carp. I mean, I can catch all this stuff just right down the road. You guys are going spending $800 to go.
Notice he mentioned nothing about a fucking catfish, aka wet dish rag.
Amberjack is a catfish.
Channel striper.
You know. Anyway, at the end of the day,
hey JR, he takes us to catch one shark that we can't get to the boat, and he goes out there with somebody else and has doubles and triples and quads.
Well,
you know, that would have been good video footage there.
Hold on, Kris.
Absolutely.
Let me back up. When we went out to the tower, I hadn't fished with Pete and Keith yet. Listen, there again, I've said this, and I don't mind giving credit where credit's due. Sometimes I don't like Pete, sometimes I do, depending on what it is. But Pete really did show me a lot. Pete showed me how to rig a ballyhoo properly, as far as how to push the shit out of him, how to break his back, pop his eyes out.
God damn, son, you're molesting him. At some point, that does become rape.
Yeah,
listen,
borderline.
Daryl, according to my friend Lacey.
But
Daryl, according to my friend Lacey.
Pete showed me how to rig these fish. And then Keith, the first time I actually went out to the ledge, Keith was on the boat. He said, "This is where you want to start this time of year, what you want to do, blah, blah, blah." And just like you, when you caught that fish, I remember the first time I went out there by myself, nobody on the boat, me and Anson Thomas. Boom, we put 3 wahoo in the boat. You talking about exciting? I catch a wahoo on a bait that I rigged, a dead bait that I rigged on my boat with my rod. A lot of people will never do that. Yeah. Then me and JR go out there. We catch wahoo.
I can't afford to do that.
And I found one of the best bottom spots that's got to be on the ledge. I've caught fish on it every time I've went out there. And those amberjack, Pete, would you say pound for pound an amberjack's probably one of the hardest fighting fish in the ocean?
Let me tell you this story here. So short
no,
answer,
that'd be
yes.
a buffalo carp.
Yeah.
Short answer, yes. I had a friend, one of my friends that fished me all the time. He hooked a double amberjack. Both were about, I'd say, 25 pounds on the same rod. Got them both in the dang boat. That motherfucker sat down for the rest of the day because his damn back popped out of place.
My friend Lacey says that a buffalo carp will spool a 6,500. I've never caught one. I'd like to catch one.
He's got a dang buffalo carp so damn deep in his mind right now.
He said a buffalo carp will spool you 6,500. What do y'all think?
No
chance.
Okay.
Turn that joker around, wet dish rag.
And Pete,
buffalo carp, wet dish rag.
Chinese 6,500 or C3.
Sweden.
Swedish.
Yeah, I mean,
what you about to say, John?
I was gonna say your trip to another country, you went offshore, right?
Yeah, Pete, tell us about that.
Yeah, so
Damn. Might have been less than a bag of chips or something.
Is that Daryl?
Daryl, easy on the pork rind, son.
Dang.
Yep.
I'm molesting something over there. Goodness. So it was a lot of fun. Interesting. New experience for sure. But
what did you catch?
The first day, so I honestly don't remember. I personally really did nothing but sailfish, so I never got my marlin at all. But friends, girlfriend, all those. They got blue marlin, they got black marlin, the whole works. So for me, it was sailfish only. But the very first day we went out there, okay, so we went out there 25 miles. That's what the mate said, 25 miles the very first day. There's a community bait hole out there. And so as far as going out there, there's a buoy 25 miles out there that all these dang big ass boats trolling circles around, getting all the skipjack and little toonie to use for marlin bait. And so, the mate puts out a dang planter along with a double, what do you call it, Clark spoon. And we're catching these little tunas, I guess, pretty fast. And so the boat has these tuna tubes where you can keep 2 in one tube, 4 tubes total, so 8 bait fish. That's all it is. So we had 8, and he put the bait out there one last time. We're trolling through there. It trips. There's a bait skip on top of the water, and he's getting his rods ready to troll for marlin, sailfish. And next thing you know, you look back and you see a dang lit 400-pound blue slapping that damn bait skip on top of the water.
I can't see that, JR, but you got to tell us.
It's my buddy Spivey. He messaged me and said you should probably pay attention to Peter.
That's right. You cut me off one time and kind of pissed me off, so I stopped talking. If I'm gonna be honest with you, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So blue marlin came in there slapping that bait fish, and by the time he came, he grabbed that bait and was not able to get anything out there fast enough to get his attention. So he trolled circles around there.
What's that like? That's the third story we've heard from you about the big fish you've lost that you didn't get that you could have gotten.
Second.
Hey, if it always gets away, you always got a fish story.
At least I fucking got stories about big fish like you.
I got a million of them. I got a million of them.
Tell us about the buffalo carp.
Just the buffalo carp.
I do want to target a wild carp. I've never caught a wild carp. I've been carp fishing like 2 or 3 times, and I've actually only carp fished myself once out of those 2 or 3 times. Other times I was just with my friends watching them at pay lakes. But I've never actually went and targeted wild carp like on a lake, and that's something that I'd like to do.
So is there tame carp?
There's a guy. There's a
50-pound blue.
Yeah, there's a guide on Lake Lanier that actually guides for carp, fly fishes for carp. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I would love to go fly fishing for carp and catch a 20, 30-pound buffalo on a fly rod, fly fishing. That would be awesome to me.
You say wild carp, is there like a pet carp?
Yes. Well, there's pay lakes, Chris. There's pay lakes, and there's those carp get caught.
Okay, so
time and time again. A wild carp is a carp that's never been caught. That's out in a lake. That's free.
I didn't know that.
So you can go behind Tuckertown Dam, and they are jumping in there thick.
Really?
Okay. The first time I ever went up into Caney, I was with Patrick Miller and Michael Walker, and we were up in there about maybe 3.5 or 4 miles. We were way up past the first bridge, and I kept hearing something bump the prop. The prop was bumping, and I said, "Damn, Walker, are we hitting rocks?" And I looked up for depth finder. We were in like 8 foot of water, and he said, "No, we good." And I looked behind me, and you could see blood. And then I looked out to the left, and there was fucking carp everywhere. At first, I thought it was a big striper. I said, "Oh shit, Patrick!" I said, "Give me a rod, throw a trout out there." And he said, "For what? Them fucking carp."
I've had the same experience. Yeah, they come up and they thrash on top of the water.
Yeah,
you'll
these
think
carp are like this big, and we're killing them with the prop. The prop's just chewing their ass up, blood and parts everywhere, and that's just
too bad they weren't catfish.
I know, right?
Damn.
We were on Lake Norman one night, and go ahead.
It's okay.
Ryan Spivey said, "Ask Pete, how did he decide to go big engine versus dual motors?"
It was all about opportunity. I had a deal that I could not say no to with the boat I got right now.
So what Spivey's saying, guys, is Peter has a boat. What does your boat have on it, Peter?
300.
A 300. So he's asking, why did he go with a 300 instead of like Wes did with like 2 140s instead of 1 300? So
I'll be honest with you. If I'm going out in the ocean, I'd rather have two than one.
True.
I mean, at that point,
take
if something
Williams
messes up
also.
one of them, I can still limp back in.
I don't know. I would say, you know, inshore, near shore, you know, offshore up to 35 miles. The one motor with single engine will be fine. If you start going over, you know, past that, then yeah, if you're out there 80, 90 miles, then yeah, that second engine's definitely cheap insurance.
I can't paddle back in past 5 miles. Hell, past 1 mile.
Well, yeah, but you have cell phone service.
Well, also ask Wes what that damn red button does on that. What do you call it?
They will
Yeah,
come.
we call that the Scott Perry and West button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will come push it. They will come.
Pete, I got a question about that.
So
Pete, on your 300, I see everyone. You see all these motors for sale, and all the guys who fish a lot or don't fish a lot, well, money. They seem to every 3 to 5 years rotate those motors out, keep the same boat, you know, and they do a motor exchange. So is that something you would do with a single motor to make sure you're always dependable?
Are you talking about like guys in
see a lot
general
of
that
people
fish
do
the
it.
beach all the time? So I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, or sorry, you're talking about in general across like the saltwater industry, the guys that tournament fish. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, I just see a lot of saltwater guys, and you see them a lot of times. I mean, you see them with 4,000 hours on them, and then you see 5-year motors for decent price with 1,000 hours on them. But it's guys who, you know, I guess because if they aren't under warranty, they change them, and I'm assuming this for dependability because they're running one motor, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So I got the answer for you. Okay. So a lot of these guys that have these doubles and triple motor boats, they are big time in the king fishing tournament scene. Okay, so a lot of it is based off of sponsorship, and a lot of it's also based off of the fact that they built up hours to where they want to rotate to a new boat for warranty. So I know a lot of guys, like they'll fish a same boat for 2 years or 3 years, and they sell the whole damn boat and start from scratch because the sponsors cut them a deal on a Mercury per se, or Onslow Bay with Mercuries, 7-year warranty, so on and so forth, or up to 1,000 hours. And so these guys, they fish hard. What a lot of guys don't see behind the king fishing industry is the amount of time that goes in pre-fishing trying to catch bait. So these guys, like, on tournament day, they might put 8 hours on a motor, okay? But the 3 days leading up to the tournament, they might put 50 fucking hours on a dang motor. So tournament after tournament, year after year,
you see really high hours, and then you see really low hours.
Yeah.
But it's like the 5 years to mark, and they're done with that outboard. And the ones that I see a lot of times are people that do what you do. They're a single engine 300, you know what I mean, or 350 or.
Well, Daryl, like this year.
I think a lot of us do a warranty. A lot of these guys get scared after 5 to 7 years. I think Suzuki's got 7-year warranties at times, I guess. Yamahas are more so 5 years. I think Mercury might be the same. But yeah, a lot of these guys, I think, are really afraid of the warranty thing. And after 5 years, they want to sell out and start from scratch.
I'm going to run my motors this year. Next year. In 2026, I'm going to repower mine with Yamahas.
It'd be a tax write-off if you're a charter, right?
It depends.
Wes, why would you go Yamaha instead of Suzuki? Just ask him.
Yeah.
Because I like Suzuki. I've got nothing against them, but I've just always liked Yamaha.
So let me tell you all this. So I have, one boat's got a Yamaha, one boat's got a Suzuki. My old freshwater boat was a Yamaha as well. And let me tell you, man, the maintenance on a dang Yamaha is a hell of a lot.
Yamaha's living off their reputation that they acquired
the name
through their two-stroke, the C series.
Anyways, I was saying the maintenance is a hell of a lot damn easier in a Yamaha than a Suzuki. You got less shit to tear down, less panels. Fucking pull the damn plugs out, put them in, take the damn bolt out.
Well, they all got their issues. You know, they're all like the Yamahas have the harmonic balancer issue. They all got their issues.
And it all depends on how you maintain it too. If it's maintained well, I mean, you typically don't have issues out of it.
True.
I agree with you, Peter. I'd take half the covers off the lower side of my Suzuki to change the oil, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yamaha, I don't. So.
One thing that pissed me off about my Suzuki
big a deal, but it is.
Yeah, in order to change my dang fuel filter in Suzuki, I had to take one panel off and take the whole fucking contraption off and replace it in Suzuki. With Yamaha, all you got to do is unscrew the cap, put a new cartridge in there, screw it back in, you're done.
Yeah, but you get 2 years extra on the warranty on a Suzuki versus Yamaha too.
True, yeah.
Well, the only thing I do, though, I don't fuck with none of that because I call my marine mechanic.
You bougie as hell, boy. That's why.
Can you change your own oil
Hey,
and it'll be covered under warranty?
You have to say the receipt.
I've been doing heating and air conditioning now for almost 36 years. That's what I do. I think I'm good at it, and I know it. I don't know nothing about boat motors. I don't know nothing about outboard motors. So when I don't know nothing about,
Well, Wes, you didn't know nothing about striper fishing 5 years ago.
So,
look at you now.
Hey,
yeah, but
You can learn right
Wes, hold on. Let me solve this problem real quick. Wes, before all this wahoo fishing, how'd you learn about wahoo fishing and tuna fishing? How?
between listening to y'all talk about
No. But before us, and no one here answer. Before me and Keith and all these others, JR, how'd you learn about wahoo tuna fishing? What'd you do?
I just watch videos on it and listen.
On where?
On TV.
On where? What?
YouTube University.
Boom! There you go, YouTube, baby. So fucking type in
I
old chain
was watching
Spooky 140, baby.
Dude, I used to watch wahoo videos on the weekends before the internet was even popular. On fishing shows. But
fucking YouTube, well, dang, you can build a fucking house on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I mean, somebody nowadays can learn on YouTube what it took like old guys 10 years to learn. They can learn in less than a year. Just watching, tutorials on YouTube.
And Wes,
exactly.
You asked why we don't. Wes asked why we don't all saltwater fish. I'll just be straight up. I mean, I've scrammed to end up with all my Dakotas like $4,000 worth of rod and reels to go striper fishing. I can't buy $50,000 worth of rod and reels in one day to go saltwater.
Well, a lot of those will interchange. They'll cross over into the saltwater world.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not broke, but I can't go like KB was talking. I can't go saltwater fishing. I mean, the shit that it takes to freaking just get started is unreal.
So
I would dare say you have everything you need to get started.
You probably do.
I've got about $14,000 tied up in rod and reels right now. But I don't have to buy them no more. If I keep those reel services, that'll last me my fishing career.
Well, let me ask you this. On average, what's it cost you to go to the ocean and back? For a trip, what's it cost you?
About $1,000.
I don't need to come back on it. I don't need to comment.
Yeah. You made your.
I can go freshwater fishing. You know what I'm saying, down the road for
$20,
$100.
So I get asked all the time, why don't I go to Tennessee? And my answer that I give all the dang time, same thing. So I have a hard time driving 4 hours to Tennessee versus go with 3.5 hours to the coast and fish out there for more.
Yeah, but nobody gives a shit about your pick of 50 black bass laying on a dock. Nobody gives a shit.
No one gives a shit about your dang 25-pound catfish.
10 years from now.
No one gives a shit about your dang little 12-pound channel striper.
When you're holding up that 35-pound striper 10 years from now, people are still going to care about it.
Okay, listen.
No one gives a shit about that. You're fucking 2-pound buffalo.
Absolutely do.
Now, here's the deal with me. And everybody, and I'm going to be honest, y'all, everybody thinks I've got money, and I don't. I'm irresponsible. I've got a lot of stuff. I've got good credit. But what I'm saying is, I mean, I'm trying to do what I've wanted to do my whole life. I can kind of afford to do it now. I'm 56 years old. I'm hoping I can do this about 5 or 6 more years and still feel halfway decent to do it, because this is life. And once you get old and you can't do it no more, it don't make a fuck how bad you want to do it, or if you've got millions of dollars, you're not going to do it.
True.
If you can't. So I'm trying to do it now and enjoy it while I can. Like I said, my wife works. People think I've got money. My wife makes damn good money. She works in a pharmacy. But we spend our money. We do what we want to do. We've got our grandkids took care of. And I'm not leaving. I'm not working. And this is just me. This is my opinion. I'm not going to work my ass off. I'm not trying to work to leave these kids a fucking fortune that don't come see us while we're living. They damn sure ain't going to spend my money when I'm dead.
Yeah.
That's just the way I look at this. I'm not, we've got some life insurance set up. If we die, they'll get a little bit of money. We're not going to leave this world with not giving them nothing. But Wes Rhodes works for this money. Lori Rhodes works for our money. Ain't nobody Nobody's pulling our sled for us. We're pulling our own. We don't ask nobody for nothing. Knock on wood. Might have to ask somebody for something tomorrow. But right now, I just do what I enjoy, and I'm very blessed to be able to do it. So
There you go. Yeah.
Pete,
that's why I do
let
all
me
this.
tell you, Pete.
What you got?
Pete, if you come to Tennessee, I think you'll be like me. So it's 4.5 hours, and it feels like 30 minutes at times. I fished 10 years. I fished all my life in the Yadkin chain, really just in the Yadkin River. I'm a river rat. I grew up down here. I learned to swim in the Yadkin. The biggest fish after 10 years of fishing hard was 22.5 pounds. It's mounted. I went to Tennessee. The third fish I caught with Anthony Johnson was in the floodgates on a spinning reel, and it was 24 pounds, the third fish. I caught 3 that day at 30 pounds, and I mean, I bought his boat, I bought a truck to pull it, I bought a camper, All this is over 2 years. I didn't buy them that weekend. But I'm telling you, it's as much difference as you going from there to saltwater. I'm telling you, Tennessee is, I mean, you're talking about cold-ass water and pulling. You can't even compare a North Carolina striper to a Tennessee striper when you catch them in like 60-degree water. I fish the Clinton River all year long. It never gets above 70 degrees.
I agree all that 100%. So as you know, Cherokee was the first time I went to Tennessee 2 weeks back. And I was quite impressed. Honestly, I had a great time. Great fishery. We didn't get a lot of bites, but that's Tennessee fishing, I guess, down there at least. But them damn fish, man, I tell you what, there was something about those fish. They pulled so damn hard. I mean, they're strong.
Hey, Daryl, you can't go to Middle Tennessee and trophy.
Shut up, catfish, man. I was talking to Daryl.
With jig heads and super fluke junior paddle tails.
Hey, but I did well, did I? Did I not?
I don't know. Daniel Skipper said he knocked you out.
What's that?
I said Daniel Skipper said he knocked you out of the damn running.
No, not at all.
Top 25.
Nope, top 25.
He made a post that said I think it was the top 10 he was talking about.
No, not Daniel Skipper. That was
Justin. We got a top 10 guy on here, John Longest.
So I'm gonna tell you what, knocking me at the top 10 did me a favor because I was able to hit the damn road an hour and a half early. You know?
And when we say Pete didn't make the top 10, he came in 11th, right, Pete?
Yeah, correct.
Pete, there's a couple of places that me and Daryl.
Skipper got it. Go ahead,
Wes.
I was gonna say there's a couple of places in Tennessee that me and Daryl Barney could take you that you would fucking fall in love with, and you may not never want to fish North Carolina again.
No.
Tennessee is a beautiful place, man.
No,
it is.
Especially when it comes to the fishing.
It really is. I agree.
Me and Wes never caught a fish, but we fished. What was it, Wes? July or August, and it was 53-degree water.
Yeah.
Remember the day, the one day I fished on your boat?
Yeah. Pete, you can be going up some of those rivers on a 92, 95-degree day, and you sitting out there pulling planer boards and you sweating your ass off. When you start that boat up and run about a half a mile across that water that's 54, 55 degrees, you'll think it's fucking wintertime.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's crazy, dude. It's really.
I feel you.
I'm telling you, the only time you sweat in Tennessee is when the wind don't blow. You're sitting on 70-degree water at the highest. The highest I've ever seen the clearance was 6 degrees in August. That was abnormal. Usually like 67 is the highest, and it's like you're standing on an air conditioning vent if the wind will blow all day long. I mean,
but listen,
nice.
In order to get the 20-pound plus fish, Pete, you've got to go back to live bait.
I'm a numbers guy, all right?
Yeah.
I'm a numbers guy.
See,
weight is a number.
It's like this, all right? So, not knocking on anyone, not knocking on any tournament whatsoever. Let's, y'all get a little pat out here real quick. JR, I know you can then do quick math here. I call it bar napkin math, okay? So this tournament here, the Striped Bass Challenge for Cherokee, first place, $5,000. Great, awesome, okay? Good number. You drop down to second place, $1,200, I think it was. Third place was at 1,000, and it goes down quickly from there. All right, so if we start adding up entry fee, $300, then gas to get there, say about $200 or $300, I guess. Airbnb, $200, and the number goes up from there, food and everything else. And then now you're dividing everything with a partner. Why am I going to spend $300 more for bait?
If you're playing for money, you're playing for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
No, what he's saying is the cost.
but-
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
he's
cost
talking
versus
about-
winning,
Let me ask
break even
everybody
or
else
lose.
this.
Yeah, so
if you
why am
go
I
to- if you go to
gonna spend-
Tennessee-
the
if you go to
biggest-
Tennessee,
January,
biggest complaint was bait. No
you go
one
to
was able
Tennessee
to
with
keep
four-
bait
let's say
alive.
you go with three
Why
other
am I
guys.
going full with that?
You're looking at spending
we were at the
$300
SBC.
each on a 2-day trip.
I'd say
We
more
were
so
at the
$400 to
SBC.
$500 each.
$500, yeah.
500, yes.
I'd rather catch one good fish than 10 small fish.
Huh?
We were at the SBC in January, and they said they were going to drop it from 20,000 of a purse to 10,000, and they had 125 boats there. I think that's going to kill that tournament. It's going to be more like
absolutely.
the other tournaments where you got 30. I mean, I don't know what y'all think, but I mean, everybody wants that. That's a Super Bowl when they have the first one,
Yeah.
$20,000. But I mean, how many boats on average has been in the other tournaments, Pete, for 5,000?
So with the exception of Cherokee, all the other ones been, correct me, John, 55, 60. Does that sound about right?
I think it's gone down. So I think it was 60 at Santee.
I think Murray had a good
50 at
turnout, though.
at
Murray had about
Murray.
55 or 60.
55, something like that. West Point, I think there was 40, and Cherokee, I think there was like 32 boats. Which that's what determines your second, third, fourth, and fifth. So first is guaranteed. That's like the sponsorship money or whatever. And I think they're changing it next year to guaranteed 15,000 across all 4 tournaments instead of just having one big. And then they're taking a little bit of the pot and then doing the top 25. And now I guess since the
When's
last tournament,
next tournament, John? When's the last tournament?
November is the top 25 tournament, but he announced it'll be at Santee in November. But he announced that those that didn't make the top 25, which was me, there'll be an open tournament for those that didn't make it. So I don't know. We didn't have good luck at Santee, unfortunately. So I don't know. All these lakes are a first time lake for me. So I just enjoy the reason I go. It's like, hey, it's $300 to enter. I'm going to go fish a new lake I've never done. I'm going to take 3 guys. We'll split the cost. It ends up being $400 a person if we don't do anything, but I would have spent that if I traveled there anyways. And at least I got a shot to win some money and explore a new lake.
Yeah. So my thing this year, same thing.
To Peter's point, if you finish third or back, you don't even cover your cost, right?
Nope. Yeah. So again, why am I going to spend the extra time and effort on live bait and spend all that money on live bait, JR, for not even breaking
Well,
even?
who's going to buy live bait, Pete? Go get you some.
Well,
Live
Peter,
on
because-
Iowa.
Yeah,
The South Carolina boys, they buy it.
They
because
do.
Peter,
They got the
if you-
drive-through bait shops, man. We don't
Damn
have
right,
anything
yeah.
like that around here.
Let's
Yeah.
see you go to the Caney Fork
Yeah,
and
but for
catch
20
a trophy striper on artificial.
bucks a
Hell, let's see
day.
you go to Rhodius and catch a trophy striper.
Give me any challenge, and I'm up for it, man.
All right.
Sound like he just dropped it on you.
Rhodius.
I think JR's trying this. I think he's jealous because he can't catch a dang fish.
Look, listen. Here's the deal.
Pete.
Everybody
Pete.
talks about catching bait and throwing nets, and fuck that. If I got a place where I can pull through and pay a little money and put some bait in my tank and push me fishing longer, hell with throwing a net.
Why the hell did you have me and JR throwing that then?
When? Well, I didn't have you and JR throwing a
Well,
net.
if you can't catch your own bait, you'll never be good.
Well, then I'm not worth a fuck in.
But Daryl, he's already good. He proved it. You can be good without throwing a net. Wes he's whipped ass for the last several years and never threw one time.
Well, I don't know how to install AC units, so I can't get them pins.
Verizon, man. Verizon.
Listen, everybody, we used to cut up years ago. I got this big thing, but you and Todd Asher's friends, Todd Asher's telling you that you damn right he was.
Hold on.
You know,
I gotta backtrack here real quick. So,
like I said, hold on.
y'all dogging me about this
talking
artificial shit and everything.
we're
Wes
talking,
talking about drive-through.
Okay,
Wasn't Wes just here recently talking about how much fun artificial is?
now, yeah, it is. But what I'm saying is, we're talking about, we're talking about all this money we spend. Hundreds here, hundreds here. Well, you're hitting it. Well, fuck, if I know where an easy button is and I'm spending my damn money, beep, I'm gonna keep pushing it.
I think the biggest meaning behind the easy button is I can't go down here to Lake Norman and catch a 40-pound striper. It's impossible. It's just not going to happen. So I could go to Tennessee and catch one. So that's like hitting the easy button.
But like I said,
JR, come down here. Give me 7 years. I'll put you on one.
7 years.
7-year plan.
But anybody,
That guaranteed
there
money
again,
I don't know. We got 7 years to do it.
anybody, and there again, I guess it depends on who you know, how your fishing circle is. But if I go to a lake, just like the first time I went to Tennessee, the best money I ever spent, I hired Todd Asher. He took me out fishing for a day. I gave him $500. Best $500 I ever fucking spent in my life in fishing. Not just because I made a friend, because Todd Asher's one showed me how to cut bait.
How was y'all cutting your bait? Wes, how was you cutting your bait?
Checking water temperature, structure. The big thing.
There you go.
The big thing. Hold on, man. You interrupted grown folks while they're talking. The big thing is like, when you're fishing, always look at your bottom. If you like this area, you want to fish, go over it with your depth finder. Don't pull up somewhere because it looks good and throw 12 lines out and you're throwing it in a bunch of fucking trees and rocks. There's just a lot of stuff that he taught me. Best $500 I ever spent. People used to say, well, Todd Asher's telling you that, when I go to Tennessee, I'm going to call Todd. Hey, Todd, where would be a good place to fish? I don't know that. I didn't know Tennessee that well. Todd helped me out a lot. And anybody that would just want to go up there and be Rambo and do it and don't know nothing, if you've got that kind of money and time and you want to go up there, and most of it, not likely, you're going to zero out unless you get very lucky. It don't hurt to call people that knows, that's got information. A lot of people call me now. I didn't. Todd Asher made a post when I caught that 52-pound striper in Tennessee. 2 days later, Todd Asher made a post and tagged me in it. And it said, and I quote, just like that, Wes Rose has friends. and that post got over 2,000 comments. 2,000 on a post. You remember that, Kris?
I do.
I do. But yeah, I mean, everybody needs help. Every one of y'all motherfuckers on here didn't go out and just start catching fish and going here and going there and loading your boat. Somebody showed you something, just like Pete showed me how to rig ballyhoo. Keith Wood took me out there to the ledge and showed me where to start fishing, what to look for.
Let me ask you all this, all right? Not contradicting this whole conversation, all right? But it's kind of turning it around on the opposite spectrum here. If you go to a lake you've never fished ever and you've caught fish, does that make you feel a little better about, hey, I can actually do this?
Depends. Was it in Tennessee?
Yeah,
yes.
It would make me
that was easy, but it don't matter.
Shit.
So you're saying, though, that let's back up. Let's back up, Pete. Let me ask you this. So you're saying, how would you feel if you went to a lake that you'd never fished before, but you've got friends or somebody that's fished that lake and can put you on fish? What the fuck are you saying? You're not going to ask them nothing. I'm going to go do it.
Oh, absolutely. I'll make some damn phone calls, but I'm going to say this. So Cherokee was the first lake that I've asked a few folks and got zero information at all. So I went there with absolutely zero. And
hold on now. We did a show and we did a comprehensive analysis of where you should go. Did you not go by what we decided?
Hey, Pete, I'll tell you a secret about Tennessee. You find you some crappie fishermen in Tennessee and ask them where the rockfish are. They'll tell you. They'll tell you real quick.
Or it could be like Pete telling me where the green light is to throw for bait, and it'd be in 75 foot of water.
So JR, in our show that we had a couple weeks back about Tennessee, everyone said go to the river, do this, do that, go up lake. And you know what? I did not do? I did not go in the river at all.
Hey, Scott.
Did you start around that island in the middle of Midland?
I'll tell you exactly.
I got one comment for you.
Hold on a minute. JR, Scott Perry said to send him an invite. He wants to fill this motherfucker up.
I sent him one. At
I
the,
feel like the Brady Bunch up here right now.
I know, right? Here's the story.
Put him in the middle like the maid.
West Rose.
Yes.
Asher is mine now.
You can have him. Hey, but Daryl, he called me last night. You do realize as soon as he gets his boat fixed, he's coming back to Big Papa. Well, he wants to come offshore.
The only reason I told him, I told him he could call you.
Well, he told me last night. He told me last night. He said as soon as he gets those injectors back, Todd said his big thing. He said, Wes, I can't wait to get my boat ready. I want to bring it down there. I'm gonna leave it where you've got your boat, and I want both of us to go offshore at the same time. And I said, do you really miss me that bad? He said, no, I just want you there in case my shit breaks down again.
Hey, I thought my boat was big. Daryl's boat's fucking, that's a barge.
It is. All right, guys, it's been a good show. We're going on 2 hours.
Man, don't start that shit, JR. Take your ass to bed.
JR's been quiet here the last 10 minutes.
Good night, guys. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye, buddy.
So now that we got no one interrupting us, let's talk about
real quick, I want to ask, so how did Pete show you how to rig ballyhoo? Is this with a nose cone and rubber bands?
Well, the only thing I do different, I think, than Pete was, it's because I didn't have any. And Anson Thomas got me doing this, and I actually like it better. Instead of using the spring, I use the black rubber bands. I just think that the rubber band holds the ballyhoo like where your wire leader is. You know, after I break his bill, he's got a little groove there. That rubber band really helps the wire stay in that groove better. And I think it bites. I just like it better than the cone. Some people like the cone because they say it makes bubbles and the way it lets the ballyhoo swim. But I've had great luck with the rubber band, so I'm gonna keep using them. What do you like, Pete? You like the cone better or the rubber band?
I like the springs better. That's because that's the way I learned. That's the way I've always done.
So I use the cone in the spring. What's up with popping their eyeballs out? I never did that.
Right? You blowing her asshole.
Their eyeballs. If you don't, some people do, some people don't. But if you don't pop their eyeballs out, they're more likely when you're pulling them, they get water in their mouth. It'll bulge your eyes out, and it makes them swim funny. So it lets water go through them. Is that correct, Pete?
What they call blow them out. We'll blow them out.
Yeah, they'll blow out.
Yeah. Now I've seen them do that, but I rigged them, and
Let me tell you all about this. When I'm out there fishing the stream and I'm working the back of the boat, I don't have a bait that sits in the water more than 20 minutes. I'm checking every damn thing nonstop. So my baits don't have a chance to blow out. Usually, if I don't like it, I'm changing that shit out quick.
We rigged them. I rigged them.
What a lot of folks don't understand, man, fishing out there, if you want to catch a lot of damn numbers, you work your ass off out there. There's no question about it.
The first trip I made offshore with Pete and Keith, God, it was epic, dude. I got into it first. I hooked a grouper, lost it, so I still hadn't got a grouper to the boat. We hooked up with a huge wahoo right there before we started bottom fishing, and I mean it was a smoker. It got what, Pete, 300 yards of line, easy.
Yeah,
just smoking. And we caught I thought we caught more than 30 mahi. And I'm talking about big dolphin. We caught some 20, 25, 28 pounds. And it was just an epic day, and that's really what fucked me up. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, the saltwater is different.
Hey, that mahi is good.
Think back on that also, Wes. When that during that day, was there ever a moment, I'd say longer than 5 minutes, where I sat in the back of the boat and just washed lines?
I never did see you sit down.
Exactly. If you want to catch numbers, on a boat, you bust your ass on the back of the boat, no doubt about it.
Well, Pete, you need to go fishing with me then, because I need to sit down sometimes.
Hand me a beer, I'll sit down.
Hey, Pete, I wish you'd tell Paul Stevens that.
Shoot, me and Paul, I hadn't talked to that joker in about 3 years, 2.5 years, to be exact. I got some choice words for him.
He's trying to rope me into being first mate on every trip.
After I heard that.
Chesapeake Bay.
I heard that.
Pete, are you fishing
You don't want to leave that captain's chair.
Like a W spread?
One way back. I'd say so. My spread's a little different. I have one way back. I have 2 intermediate, 1 prop wash, 1 planter. I like to have a DTX minnow on the other side.
Hey, I'll tell you a secret. If you ever fish with Wes, If you want to get them off the rod and reels where you got a chance to catch one, go out there and mess with the grass.
Oh God, man, Chris Brown was wanting to tweak it. I said, man, don't touch my depth finder. Man, I'm just gonna. I said, man, here. I said, come get on this rod. Daryl, you was talking about Chesapeake Bay. Now here's a preview of what you would have caught if you would have got on my boat. Okay, we're gonna start with this one. Okay.
What that one weigh, Wes?
Easy button.
I think that one was a 46 or 47.
Hell yeah.
What are you talking about, Wes?
Okay, let's start with that. Hold on a minute, Daryl. Daryl, we're going through the previews here. You could have got that one. That one was I think that one was a 38 or a 40. Or you could have got that one. Or you could have got that one. Or
Are you done?
I caught a
no,
61
hey, or you
pound.
could have got that one. Hey, now here's your one, Daryl. Boom, you could have got that one.
That one looks like it's
Or Daryl, boom, you could have got that one.
26 on there. I'm just
Or
playing.
bam, you could have got that one. So there you
Hey,
go.
Wes,
I-
I caught
yeah.
a 61 pounder. What do you
I
want me to do?
I wish I had my dang photos of all the dang freaking wahoo and sales I've caught over the last 10, 15 years.
That upset me. I don't want to see it.
So I wish they're gone.
You could have called
Wahoo are
that.
the gar of the ocean, JR said.
Damn.
What did he call it? A channel striper.
Channel striper.
Best
Well, I
eating.
should have mentioned pay lakes. I didn't mean to get him crook up like that. I forgot about that.
That dude was mad.
So John, I see that you're fishing the Big Rock coming up soon. One thing I learned in Costa Rica, the main
25
marlin
miles
bite-
is a lot closer than 50.
You're right, or 55 or 60 or 65, whatever. But one thing I learned about marlin fishing in Costa Rica is most of your marlin bites happen just past the prop wash.
Yep.
Hey,
So
now,
we-
people, are there any marlin off the coast out there where I'm fishing at right now? Is there any blue marlin out there?
Occasionally you look into one or two here and there. They're there.
I know somebody
Hey.
caught one off the coast of North Carolina Friday.
Blue marlin eat dolphin and tuna. So wherever you get those, that's their bait, you know?
Well, you
You
know,
gotta be
somebody out of North
60
Carolina caught
miles.
one.
you got a Little River. Is that right, Wes?
I do. Yeah.
I
my
mean, am
boat's
I right or
over
wrong?
50
Ain't the world record blue marlin from North Carolina?
I believe so, out of Hatteras, right?
Right.
Oh, Hatteras
It's
is the
it's
easy
in
button.
Oregon Inlet mounted. A replica
Yeah.
of it or the actual fish one.
Yeah.
Now, when does the Big Rock start up again?
June the
June.
10th. I sent Peter a thing this morning. I said you need to take off and come on down.
I got my schedule today, by the way. I think I'm off, actually.
Perfect.
I
Let's
think
do it.
so.
Hey, Pete, you want to fish it this year?
It's too late to enter. Not with you.
Well, hang on. Are you showing him how to rig ballyhoo the night before? Or what?
No, shit, we rigged Spanish mackerel the night before. What are you talking about?
Oh, y'all
Spanish.
are rigging
Oh, yeah.
Spanish.
I thought it was cool. I watched it last year because Michael Jordan's like my hero because I used to like basketball till he retired.
I
And it
can't
was
take
just-
Michael Jordan serious in Big Rock. You know why? Because everything around him is paid. He's got paid captain, paid
yeah.
mates, paid everything. You know,
Dude,
so
if you had his money, you'd have a paid everything.
you're damn right.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Michael Jordan is Wesley Rose if he had $1 billion.
Hey, Wes
Pay
pays
for everything.
someone to fixes his boat. He pays someone to cleans his boat. He pays someone to cleans his fish.
What's
I mean,
wrong
you're
with that?
almost there, Wes.
That
Almost.
man plays basketball. He don't clean boats.
He pays somebody to clean more than that. They clean up everything he's got.
Fucking right, yeah.
So I fished the Big Rock last year in my boat, and we obviously weren't targeting marlin, or we were going after the mahi. And you can win some pretty big money, just you know, dailies and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna do it again this year. Depending, it's weather dependent. Like I signed up 3 days before last year because I saw 2 good days, and I was like, well, we got a shot because I at least know where to go to
How
catch
early do
mahi.
you have to sign up for it?
I mean, you can sign up now, but you can sign up until the Friday before. So they have, I think, Friday, June 10th, and then they
So
do like
how
the
many lay
KWLA.
days do you have to have, John, when you fish?
So you fish you can fish 4 days. That's the max. And basically, you
Right.
call in on the radio, and when you're going out, or I think now they make you send a text whether you're going to fish or not. And I
And how
only was
long
able
gotta
to
be?
fish
And how
three
long?
days.
What's the time period for these 4 days? What is it? 2 weeks? A week? 2 weeks?
It's 1 week. It's
1
6
week?
days, so it's Monday through Saturday.
And you
No,
can
but
And
pick
usually
any
you
every
pick your
fish.
day the day before, Wes. You don't have to pick it.
well, you pick it that
far
morning.
out.
You
Okay.
text them and you say this is gonna be my lay day. But everyone usually fishes the first day because they do. I think first billfish or something like that gets like
Yeah,
150 grand.
yeah. I
Something
think
like
first one over
First fish
400
over.
pounds. I
first
think.
one over 400. Yeah.
I think
I
the
may
first fish
fish
over
it this
400
year
or
just for
500
the
gets
dolphin.
$500,000, right? What it was
Uh,
last year.
So we entered the, so you have to do level 1. There's 10 or 11 levels. We did level 1, which you have to do. That's $2,500, and that the maximum you can win if you were to get, biggest marlin, whatever. I think it's 180 grand, something like that. Then I did the outboard division, which, I'm in a class with just outboards, but you're in there with guys with quads. I mean, 55-foot boats that eat these sport fish boats up. We did that one. You have your own prize money there. I think that one was like 100 grand. And then the Mahi division's another $2,500, and you can win. I think last year the prize was 550 some thousand for the largest Mahi of the tournament. I mean,
Yeah, I might try that this year just
John,
to say I did it.
John, you need to consider king
You
tournaments.
need a net, man?
Your style of fishing, you might do well in king tournaments.
yeah, I mean, the problem is I just time. Like, I mean, that's the only reason I fish the tournaments is because that's the only time I get to go on the water when I can tell my wife, hey, I'm going fishing. Just with little kids, that's just how it is. But yeah, no, the saltwater definitely, that's a different animal, and it's definitely expensive. But I've been blessed with certain things, so I'm able to do it occasionally. And last year I think all in all, I mean, it wasn't bad. I've got a single outboard Yamaha 300. I think we were burning $500 in fuel a day. But some of those guys are spending $5 grand, $6 grand a day in fuel.
Yeah, damn
I
right.
mean,
right.
easily, twin
But see,
diesel.
the technology is electronics. We talked about this in the down in Cherokee the other day, where these guys can locate these blue marlin before lion's in time, and so you can't fucking match that technology.
Yep.
How you do that?
Omnidirectional sonar. It's about 200 grand, and they have their own class. I mean, they're in obviously the level 1, but they have their own omnidirectional sonar class, and I think they're also in big. There's a high roller one, whatever it is. It's 52,000 if you were to do all levels, and you can win like $5 million total if you won all 10 divisions. But omnidirectional sonar gives you a half a mile all the way around the boat. So what they'll do is they'll go out there and they'll use their omnidirectional, and all they're looking for is that marlin. They go right up to it and they put bait right in front of his face. If he doesn't hit it, they go to the next one. I mean, that's all it is. And you'll hear literally, on the VHF, or if you listen to it live, they'll say, Carolina girl or whoever's hooked up at, it starts at 9 a.m. Carolina girl hooked up at 9:02, and you're like, how in the hell is someone hooked up? 2 minutes. I mean, we're sitting here just still putting our lines out, and they're already hooked up. But
true story.
It's a good event. I mean, Wes, you would love it. The captain's dinner, it's like top notch. That open bar.
That's what I see. Looks forward to every dang year that tournament.
I think I'm on it. I'm on enter the Dolphin division this year just to say I did it.
It's definitely a bucket list thing to do. I mean, that's one of the reasons I did it.
Well, I hadn't even never heard. I'd heard of it, but Daryl Barney messaged me last year. He said, "Are you watching the High Rock Marlin?" And I said, "The what?" He said, "Dude, you ain't never watched that?" I said, "No." And he sent me the link to watch it live.
Yeah.
And dude, I watched that shit for like 4 fucking hours. I put it on my, I linked it to my TV.
Well, you put it on my big customers, man.
Couldn't get away from it, dude.
But Daryl, didn't Paul Stevens fish it last year or try to or something?
Yeah, so he tried to get me on this deal. So there's a boat that's making a killing, so that they get in everything. Like John was saying, they charge $3,000 a day for the 6 fishermen, and you get like they say 30%. So the boat gets half, the first mate gets 30%, and then there was like 28 fishermen that you would split like 10% with, and that this boat never even caught fish. Paul said he was drunk. He told me it was like best friend. He knew him. They had finished like second 2 or 3 times. He gets out there, his thing was like. But I called the guy, and he's like, "Well, it's $200 for a day." And I was like, "Well, can you break it down for me? What, like, if we won or?" And it was like there's not even a chance to probably get it on the rod and reel. They had other fishermen on the boat plus the whatever the max was. I mean, it was sense of what they were going on. So like, and I got to look, and there's multiple boats that do this on the big rock, and they literally get done and make $50,000 on top of it. So it was $3,000 for me to fish it. Plus, I had to split the gas with the 6 guys.
Yeah.
What they burned that day, $3,000 plus. So they're literally fishing for free, 50% of the purse of the boat, and it's like it's a gig that people get on because it's their bucket list, right?
Yeah.
Oh, not even realistic. Oh, I'm in 2 days. I'm in for 2 days, and you can get on Monday, and you need to try it. And I talked to the guy, and it's like he was the biggest artist. I mean, and it's like because I had him break out, and I'm like, man, I'm out on that. It's like, well, you tell me right. He's like, well, I just told you, man, I'm out. That's no interest to me. I was like, you know, he's in misery after he tried it, but it's like, it goes on a lot. So there was multiple boats who did that same thing, but it was
so
I don't know.
You know, obviously,
I mean,
everything that Paul does fishing wise is virtually a tax write off, so it don't hurt him anything whatsoever because he's able to write it off.
No. I mean,
his company, whatever, you know. So
I'm a customer of Paul's. Is how that happens. You know what I mean? But this wasn't a customer thing, or I would have went, obviously. But you know, some of our trips are that. But I mean, I've turned into his first mate, and it was like we're supposed to go out next Friday. We were going to, and I didn't. I told him I couldn't make it because I'd probably be back in the Candy Fork. And plus, I got to work on Friday. But
so Wes, you can write off the entry as a marketing expense and the fuel. Well, at least
my business.
Well, that's what I did. I mean, you only get 50% of it back, but
I can hear me now saying, Randy, listen, can you do me a favor? Kris knows my tax guy now. His wife, Randy. Randy, can you write this off for me? I'm gonna go enter this high rock tournament in North Carolina, and it's gonna cost me probably about $6,000. Is there any way I can write any of this off if I don't win?
So it's gonna cost you $6,000 to enter if you're gonna do mahi.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna spend fuel.
Oh yeah, I was just.
I mean, you're going. It's
I'll
probably
be
gonna be
about 10,000.
Yeah, 10. And then, but if you get some people on the boat, I mean. You know,
how fast can that boat go yours, Wes, with 10 people piled in there?
I can, with 4 people, I can run about 42, 44
How
miles.
about 10 to divide the price?
10 people.
10.
Why would I have 10 people on it?
So we can divide up that damn $10,000 easier.
I thought you said you wasn't going to fish it with me.
Well, I mean, you get 10 people on there. We're talking.
I mean, hey, I'll get on to be your damn gaff guy.
Shit, don't touch a gaff with me on the boat.
And yeah, that's another thing. Pete Malik's crazy as fuck when it comes to a gaff. He won't let you gaff a fish. He'll look at you real stupid. If you even look at the gaff, it's why are you looking at that gaff?
I will hit you in the mouth with the backside.
Wow.
Oh,
damn.
I tell you one thing, you get a 50-pound mahi on there, you're getting that damn gaff.
Yeah, I want one of them big bubbas that's like 8.
I don't give a damn if motherfucker's 10 pounds. If he's getting the hook. Hey, that Mahi was some good eating.
What's that?
What's wrong with a gaff? You don't want that blood on
No. What Wes don't understand, sorry, not Wes, what he failed to explain is when I'm on the boat, I fucking gaff the fish because I've seen too many damn folks miss with the damn gaff, you know, little newcomers, rookies, dang swing 5, 6, 7, 8 damn times, bruise up the fuck out of the damn fish. And
everybody's a rookie, man. Hey, you got to learn somewhere. If you got Pete on the boat, you can't ever damn get out of rookie status.
True story, but let's put it this way. Hey, Kris, put it this way, okay? All right, so let's backtrack here real quick. You got your dang, how big was your striper? 46, 47?
Yeah.
All right, you got your 46-pound fish on board there, okay? You got your wife on board, and then you got an experienced guy on board. Who do you want netting that dang trophy fish of yours?
I caught that fish and netted that fish by myself. I wish like hell I had somebody on the boat to help me net that fish.
All right. So
Michael
if you had two
Walker would
people
have
on the
gaffed
boat,
the
who's
fuck
netting the
out of it before
fish?
he
Your
turned
wife who
around.
doesn't fish ever, or someone that fishes all the time that knows how to net a fish?
I can't answer that.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You can. All right.
What-
All right.
Yeah, somebody knows what the fuck they're doing. I'm with you. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. All right.
Absolutely.
So let's just say someone's got a 50-pound wahoo on the dang line, and you got some newcomer swinging that gaff. Do you want that to happen?
But I tell you though, I've seen Heather netted fishes that a lot of people couldn't net. So there goes that.
I
But
get
I
it.
understand
He's
what
laughing
you're
at the
saying.
comment,
Absolutely,
by the way.
absolutely, man. You put a lot of time and money, and you know what I'm saying, into catching a fish. And the last thing you want to do is see it swim away in the boat.
Yeah, I've seen it all too many times. I'm gonna tell you another story here real quick. Fishing the U.S. Open King Mackerel tournament, and I'll tell you the year here. It's actually 2004. We had the winning fish on the line and almost in the boat. And the inexperienced, I was the guy fighting the fish. The inexperienced gaffer swung down there and gaffed the fish kind of in the tail section. And as his dumbass was slinging that damn fish over the rail, it tore off, broke the line, fish is gone. Ever since that day, no one touches the fucking gaff in a king tournament other than me.
Yeah.
So I wish you was on here, Pete. Anthony Johnson used to fish those king tournaments. They had like $75,000 won, and the guy gaffed the fish in the gut. He said that the entire gut come out of it at least 3 to 4 pounds. They lost by like a half a pound.
Exactly. Yep. That shit happens. No doubt about it.
I think you said
It is some land weight.
70,000. He used to go down there and fish the piss out of them, out of those.
Oh, yeah.
That they either won 2 or 3, but he never won one of those. Like he won like 10,000 a few times, but I mean they fished a lot of them. But he told me that story. He said the guy literally just gut gaffed it. He said the shit went everywhere.
Yeah,
So not just that, if you hit a fish in the wrong place with a gaff, you can mess all the meat up. You can
so one of the best finishes I've ever had in the U.S. Open, literally, I happened to grab the rod right away. The fish hit, and I mean, it was, I'm going to say 38, 39 pounds, if memory serves me right. And literally, that from the moment that fish hit to the moment it was gaffed, about 35 seconds went by. I mean, it was that damn quick. And it was just, everything went perfect. But, my friend swung the gaff, nailed it perfect on top of the back, swung in the boat. The rest is history. But that shit never works out that way, ever, But I've seen too many times where, someone swings a gaff and knocks the hooks out of his mouth or, just all sorts of crazy shit.
So pretty much what you're saying is if you want to go practice, go to a pay pond and do it on a catfish.
Exactly.
Catfish.
Find you channel stripers.
Channel stripers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Those damn buffalo carp.
Hey, buffalo carp, yeah.
That's right.
Hey, Wes, I'll send you a picture later, but I got to tell this on here so we can get it out. Mr. Conservationist Billy Davis, I got a picture of him jigging for paddlefish. He actually was in the Emery freaking slate, pulling the rod with a treble hook for paddlefish.
Billy Davis was?
Billy Davis. Todd sent me the
Hey,
picture.
did you see where that guy called the new paddlefish record?
No.
Anthony was there while he was doing it.
Yeah. How'd we get JR back?
I don't know.
Did his camera log back on for him?
It would be real weird if you watched him walk across like he just showered or something.
Just butt naked.
Damn, well, he's been watching this.
Nothing on but his damn earphones.
Oh.
Well, I'm gonna call
All
and see what he's doing.
So Wes is fishing the big rock. Pete's gonna fish the big rock with me.
Yep. Am I the gaff man? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, I'm fishing.
100%.
We're good.
Me and KB's gonna fish it in my flat bottom, but we're gonna start a what's that you do on Facebook when you want money? We'll do that.
GoFundMe.
Kris.
GoFundMe, yeah.
Come on, there. We got deep pockets. Hey, get
There we
Paul
go.
on board. Get Paul on board. He'll fund the whole trip, right?
You're
That's how it
back
works
on the
usually.
show somehow or another. How do I do it? Oh, just hit you remove. I mean, you just
Hey,
popped
no
up again,
shit.
like down in the screen.
Paul's got
I
a
can
sweet
see your
ass
chair
boat,
and
but
stuff
it's a
there.
gas hog or a diesel hog.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right.
We went through $780 worth of diesel in
Bye-bye.
Chesapeake Bay in one day.
Damn.
Yep.
Is he happy with his boat? Like I said, I literally have not, me and him were kind of close, and I don't know what dang hair perked up his ass, but I ain't talked to him in 2.5 years. But I think me and you had that conversation. I'm pretty sure I know what it was, but I'm not going to say anything about it. But yeah.
We'll talk about it later, but I mean, he never said anything to me like that. He talks like y'all best friends. You told me whatever, something about a friend of a friend of a friend, but he's never said that. I mean, but yeah, I think he's happy with his boat, but for some reason, like last Friday, he went out in that whale craft, and I'm trying to figure out why he would do that.
Probably convenience.
I
mean, that whale craft tow is pretty easy.
John, what kind of boat do you have?
Key West 239 FS. So it's 23. I was the second smallest boat in the Big Rock last year out of 220 boats.
Now, what is that fish out of?
Wes, the only one with a Carolina skiff offshore.
What's that?
Be right back.
What?
So was it, John? Was it like 2 or 3 years ago? A guy almost won the Big Rock in a single outboard.
I know 2 or 3 years ago, a guy won it in a twin. I think 33.
Yeah, it might have been that. I know a guy.
I mean, he won it in a center console, and that's what kind of a lot more center consoles started entering in, and then they did last year was the first year they did the outboard division.
I know Anthony, my buddy, keeps up with it. He told me a guy lost like last minute in a single outboard like 3 or 4 years ago. Since I knew him, and he got whatever, he had a 640 or something and a 651 like last day. They had it won in like maybe a $40,000 boat, he said.
You always hear about that old man in that John boat catching a damn winning fish on tournament day.
The Rasta Rocket, the Zach on Wicked Tuna, his boat's what, 25? He's got a 25-foot contender.
It's bigger than 25, but yeah.
No, Zach's is a 25-foot contender.
Well, the worst story ever is you can look it up, is where the guy didn't have any fishing license and he got disqualified because the biggest fish, I guess, John, it's still the biggest fish ever caught in the Big Rock.
I believe so.
It was worth like $1.5 million or $2 million. They had a guy who didn't get up because they'd been drunk. Like 2 guys picked the guy up at the dock, took him out, and they caught that fish. When they did all the tests, this guy didn't even have a North Carolina saltwater fishing license, and they disqualified him. And that's a true story.
Yep.
They lost $2 million because of that guy.
So
he went home and beat his ass.
Oh, I can't imagine. So my uncle's fished it the last, I don't know, 15, 16 years on another boat. And that year that guy did that, they finished second in the Dolphin. They won some money. But, I mean, you get daily, you can win daily, $3-4 grand on. And see, what a lot of people don't understand is these big boats, that are, I'd say out of the 200 boats that fished it, 170 of them are fishing for marlin and the big fish. Like they're fishing for that 3 million. Like we put one teaser out there for a marlin. Like we're fishing for mahi. We want that daily.
So John,
you're listening to the Real Fisherman Podcast.
I watched videos of that through hole thing. It's $250,000.
Yep.
And
omnidirectional.
All that live scope and stuff is a joke next to that stuff. I mean, you can see it's more like watching a TV of watching a marlin under. Yeah. I mean, it's no doubt on what you're looking at. It's insane what you get for. I mean, it's $250,000, but that is you versus that is a joke. Anybody.
Oh yeah. And how they score it is.
I didn't realize that was his home division now, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, but they can compete with the rest, so that's the downfall. But no, the other thing too is you don't have to actually get the fish. Well, if you got something to weigh, you get them in the boat, but you just have to touch the leader, and that's points. Which It has to be on a GoPro recording, but that's how you get points, and that's how you can make money too. So, but those guys, man, I mean, I'm no competition with them. I'm strictly going after the mahi. Wahoo pays pretty big too. There's a daily mahi, wahoo, and I believe it's yellowfin. And actually, I don't think anyone weighed any yellowfin in until
That's right.
Friday. I mean, it was crazy.
Don't one of the guys, or don't a couple of the guys from Wicked Tuna fish that tournament?
I'm sure they do.
So I heard
yeah.
while I was in the bathroom, I hear you mention Rasta Rocket. I actually grew up. When I started saltwater fishing, I actually fished with Zach Shackelford and Daniel Blanks all the time. Like we fished together all.
Yeah, you told me the story about Daniel. I won't say nothing about it on here, but do y'all know John? Daryl, you know where they got their name for the Rasta Rocket?
No, I don't.
There's a movie John Candy made years ago called Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
About the Jamaican bobsledding team.
Yeah.
And the Jamaicans named their bobsled the Rasta Rocket. Nobody knows what it means, but that's what they named it. And that's where Zach got his name for his boat.
So there's been many times I watch him bring a tuna over to reel of that boat, and I'm like, man, he's gonna flip that damn boat.
Yeah.
I mean, that damn fish is you know what I'm saying?
But Zach and they're really the big underdogs in that tournament, and I love watching Wicked Tuna when they're fishing that season.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
I'm pretty sure that the Fishing Frenzy fishes that I fished with those guys like 12 years
Yeah,
ago.
they do.
Caught a 52. And I'm telling you, they're good guys. That's way before the TV show. That's two really, really good guys. They made them out to be whatever. They smoked that ass out of Oregon Inlet for the first season or two. But that's they're two straight up guys. They're fishermen. I mean, they're straight up. Really, I mean, like I say, before TV,
generational fishermen.
After like one season of that shit, you can't pay any attention to what happens. I mean, it's so. Everything's a drama and everything's like staged, but
yeah.
So the other crazy thing is like when we went out that morning, I don't know, it was 5:30 in the morning. You see 190 boats coming out. I think me and a handful of others were the only ones that put in at Harker's Island because we were the only small center consoles that are trailering, and everyone else is coming out of Beaufort Inlet. But you'll see 90% of them shoot across, and they go to Hatteras. I mean, that's where apparently all the big fish are, and they'll go to like the furthest northern boundary that you can fish, and that's usually where they hook into them. But I mean, we fished Swansboro Hole and I think Big Rock southeast. We were about 55 miles out, and I mean, we only had one good day of fishing. Everything else, one day we were out there, it was 4 to 6s, and they were 6 seconds apart. Ooh. And on a 24-foot boat, that's not fun, especially when you're trying to rig ballyhoo, and
John,
get your lines out.
Do you have a planner rod set up?
Yes.
Do you? Okay. I was going to say, if you don't have one, I'll let you borrow mine for your Big Rock tournament.
John, now how do you fish?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
John, I didn't realize for the marlin, are there boundaries? Because I didn't realize that there was boundaries.
There's boundaries for the tournament. I mean, it's a pretty big boundary. I mean, you can't go all the way to Hatteras, but I do know of some. There's a guy out of Burlington that won it, I don't know, a couple 4 years ago, which is my hometown, and their boat is in Hatteras. So what they do is they leave from Hatteras and go to that boundary. But yeah, I mean, there's a northern point and a southern point, and I think a little bit past Swansboro Hole, if you know where that is, that's where it ends. But yeah, you have to stay within those, and everything like the GoPro, you have to record it on a GoPro. Like anytime you get a fish.
So you're talking about a boundary from where you take off from, not where you fish.
Boundary from where you fish. I think you can take off from anywhere, but when you get your first hookup, like they have it in the rules, but you have to take your GoPro, show like your coordinates, show the fish on, and then you have to record the fish coming and you grabbing the leader, and then that's how you get points. And they don't, they do the points every night.
I know when I sent Wes,
to bring your footage
it's the most fun to listen to all the radio traffic all day long of like hooked up, and you hear so many you know, that you lose points for like a pulled hook. You lose points for, it's just crazy to hear it all. I mean, I've heard guys that like hook it in, 11 marlin in a day. It's crazy.
I wish they'd do that with SBC. Do like a multiple day on the first one. Do a multiple day tournament instead of just a one day.
Uh-huh.
I think that'd make for a real good turnout.
Hey, John, I got 2 questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, what the hell keeps moving behind your head? When you move, there's some crazy shit going on with your background.
He's got an automatic background on.
That's fancy. He's a
Look, it's because I'm in, I was babysitting earlier, but it's because I'm in my kids' playroom and it's a mess.
Well, how'd you do that?
Settings and then virtual background.
Oh, okay. Second question. How do you rig your ballyhoo? Do you rubber band or you spring comb?
I use a spring, and I have done some with rubber. I keep rubber bands on the boat.
What do you like best?
We've had more success with the springs and running the.
Now, what does the springs do that the rubber band don't?
I think it's just it's easier, honestly. I mean, you can rig them pretty quick. I know we usually keep a couple pre-rigged on ice or on the tray on ice. And
yes, I think it really comes down to preference. I really honestly don't think there's a big difference between spring and rubber bands. I feel like the spring might have a little better aerodynamic as far as the bait overall in the water. However, your bait might not have the best action, and vice versa as far as.
Well, now all my ballyhoo, I'm running heads. I'm running heads over them anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever fished one
I
just
did
straight
both,
ballyhoo.
Pete. Don't you think for the amateur like myself, the spring gives you more of a chance of getting it right every time?
That's correct. Yes, for sure.
So with a straight Google question here, is that ballyhoo? That's store bought. Obviously, it's not French caught.
No, you can, ballyhoos only come out of Florida. They're not caught up here. They're not around here, so you have to buy them.
So if you're using ballyhoo as bait that comes out of Florida, you don't match the hatch?
No, not in saltwater. You just the motherfuckers hungry.
Yes,
shit.
Yes and no. There are times where you get basically 3 sized ballyhoo. You got jumbos, you got your mediums, which is your normal size, and occasionally you'll find these small ballyhoo for sale. And there are times where, like for example, when Wes and I fished this time last year, I think we used a lot of smalls, and they were crushing that because the flying fish were small. But I really love those smaller baits for tuna. The tuna love those smaller ballyhoo overall versus the bigger ones.
So flying fish is a good bait fish.
Yes. Well, it's not a good bait fish to use because it's hard to rig, but it's a good indicator. You see flying fish, that's where you start fishing.
Yep.
Now, what chases flying fish? Because when we were going out to Penn Tower or whatever, Wes, you remember, man, it was like every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, there was flying fish jumping everywhere,
Everything in the ocean, there's probably nothing out there that won't eat a flying fish.
Right.
Okay.
But if you see flying fish,
there's good thing.
There's fish there.
If you're running out there, if you're taking off and you're running the boat and you see flying fish scattered everywhere, that don't mean nothing, really overall. Just there's bait in the area. However, if you're trolling out there in the stream and you're looking around, and all of a sudden you see 5 or 6 take off in the distance, you better turn that damn boat and go that way quick.
Okay. So running across will jump them up, but just trolling across and you see them, obviously they're being chased.
Yep, absolutely.
Or spooked.
I saw one time one of the most neatest things I've ever seen. One of the biggest dolphin I've ever caught. Also, I saw one lone flying fish just take off and just scoot and start, ease across the water. Went for about 100 yards, hit the water, took off again, coast about 50 yards, and all of a sudden, boom, explosion. I'm like, oh shit! So we turned that way. And sure as shit, I think we got a 38-pound dolphin trolling that. So, yeah.
All right.
So, John,
that
are you running
and structure.
on your boat for
I do.
Like the goals?
I do have a Garmin. I think it's a X24. I don't know the actual number, but yes, I'll turn bird on. But it's like Pete said, when I go out there, I kind of have some marked holes, and I look for weed lines. I look for trash in the water. Like I know we've gone up and seen pallets, like graduation balloons, because it's usually after graduation season. It's crazy. You go up and you'll see just a happy graduation balloons sitting out in the middle of the ocean, and you'll see the mahi underneath the balloon. Like you can literally just cast into them. And
Chris, there's a thing.
Me and
If
Pete's
you're
brother
out
caught
there
10 on the
fishing,
cedar tree.
if you
I
see,
swear it was somebody's Christmas tree, John. I caught 5 one time off a basketball.
yeah,
if you see a bottle, if there's no structure, no weed lines, nothing. If you see a fucking Pepsi bottle floating out there, pull bait over it. A Pepsi bottle.
With the exception of that day, Wes and I went out there last year. One of the best days I had for dolphin. We're out there offshore, and there was literally a log in the water, like this size of a log you'd put in a fireplace, not big at all, sitting out there. And I think we picked off like 28 dolphin off that one log.
How long do you think it takes fish to get up under something like that?
Honestly, I have no idea. I want to say a day, maybe.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know if it'd be worth it to take a damn float out there with you and put out there.
So yeah, what happens is a lot of times the stuff floating out there collects bait, and then of course the bait, the dolphin and everything else rolls in behind the bait and kind of stays in the same area.
Chris, I thought the same thing, but it literally takes like a day. It'll grow some kind of like bullshit or collect shit on it, and then it turns. We literally caught 5 off a basketball, and a ball's like a great thing, but that tree was like unbelievable. The first time I ever went was I fished with guys who were fishing 2 weeks before the big rock, and we found a line of 2x4s. And what amazed me was this happened. It might have been him, but we would get on that line of 2x4s and catch all them dolphin, and we hooked a blue marlin that day, which the captain ran over. That's a whole nother story. But we caught dolphin all day long up to we caught one that's 56 pounds. But I mean, I'm telling you, there's a video out there from like the late or early 90s of it that we did on a damn videotape. But anyway, long story short, when we would get on that and get hooked up, he would lose those 2x4s, and it would take him like 30 minutes to find them. I'm like, how in the hell could it take you this long to get back on it? But you go through so much and so much water in the current. It was crazy.
That's how fast that shit moves, man. It really moves fast. It really does.
There's two things that I was taught to remember about mahi fishing. First of all, a mahi, besides being one of the fastest growing fish in the ocean, they're the dumbest. Second of all, if you catch one, especially a smaller one, do not take him out of the water. Get him to the boat and leave him in the water. And if there's more mahi around, a lot of times they'll come to him, and then you can throw top water. You can throw a jig at them and wear their ass out.
Hey, that happened to me. That happened to me on freshwater here with the striper.
The most fun I ever had was pitching. We trolled for him the first 10 trips I ever made, Wes. And I went out and we found them on that structure, and we pitched cut bait at them. And this is no lie, like the 3rd or 4th fish, you would see them. They would follow the shadow of the bait or the image of it going across the water and hit it when it hit the water. They would see it coming across. And, I mean, they are the dumbest fish in the ocean.
And they line up.
Hey, they do that shit with the damn on wicked tuna. You seen that? Hand feed them at the boat.
I'll tell you what, though, you can call them dumbest fish, but there's gonna be that one day that you go out there and you see them behind the boat, and you will throw the whole kitchen sink at them, and they won't touch a damn thing.
Hell, me, Wes, and JR caught one on a dad bait drifting, just letting it float out there. We caught one.
All right, that's a good way of catching it.
We pitched cut bait at them, and they would run at it before it hit the water. But to Peter's point, we throwed it some that we saw that never would even turn their head.
Yeah.
It's weird.
All right, boys. I got up at 6 o'clock this morning.
We're setting records here with that JR. Look at this, 2.5 hours.
That's because we started talking about saltwater.
JR, don't start that shit, Wes.
Hey, listen, I caught 8 service calls today. I put over 700 miles on my truck, and I've got about 8 more to do tomorrow. And then I got maintenance to do Thursday, and I got to get ready to go fishing Friday because I'm leaving Friday morning to go back offshore. So,
y'all hear that damn complaining? I don't. He says I'm not going
fishing.
That
sounds like money to me. Listen, that means if you're running 700 miles in a day, that means that gas tax write-off for the big rock is going to be easy.
You made 8 service calls in a day. I would take tomorrow off.
I don't want to hear this shit talking about.
Yeah, I got a guy trip to go on myself tomorrow morning.
But no, believe it or not, this time of year when it first starts getting hot, it's when
everybody freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, everybody they're going to turn. Hey, my air ain't running. Why wouldn't you hear yesterday? So
Yep. Unfortunately, Pete's not fishing tomorrow.
I am not. I'm on call.
Yeah, I got a guy running
My
the
damn
King
truck
tomorrow.
is still in the shop from that one day that fucking deer about plowed into John. Yeah.
Hey, Kris, I got one question for you.
What's up, brother?
I wasn't coherent for that.
How many friend requests did you get, and how many Facebook messages did you get? Where were you at?
Over 20 friend requests, and I couldn't tell you how many messages. Like I said, I cut my Facebook notifications off for 2 days.
Did anyone try to pay you?
Everybody wants to know where I
Yes.
caught it, what I caught it on.
Hey, Chris, real quick. I'm taking 2 preacher's sons. I want to put them on the first striper ever. Can you tell me exactly where to go?
In the water. In the water.
You gotta wait.
I can recommend somebody for you. Daryl Barney.
I love getting those damn messages all the time. I'm taking 2 kids, first time I ever want to keep them busy. Can you tell me where I can go crappie fish or striper fish? And I try my best to ignore them, but I can't. I give them some.
I'm not trying to make fun, but you also get those that, well, he don't have long to live.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, guys, here's what I do. If I want to help somebody, I used to hear years ago, people say, oh, man, I'll tell them to go to such and such, and I don't even know if it's any fit. If I tell you something, I'm telling you the truth. And if I don't want to tell you nothing, I'm just not going to tell you. I'm not going to send nobody on a wild goose chase. I'd rather let them do that themselves.
See, man, I've been sitting on so many wild goose chases, man. You can tell me the truth right now, and I probably wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you per se, but just in general.
I gotta say this. You guys are familiar with body of water there. I'm familiar with High Rock. I'm familiar with Baden, whatever, or especially Lake Norman. But like, if you talk to someone and they tell you something, don't you know right away when you're being bullshitted? Like, you've been on the block for so long, and you just know right away that what you're being told is complete, utter bullshit.
Hey,
Look,
listen,
I thought you were going to tell me they were up the river, Pete.
Damn it.
I ain't going to call you names, Pete, but I talked to a guy who's the expert. I didn't say his name, but Wes knows who he is. He told me everywhere to go and where to fish in the Cumberland. And then as soon as I caught those fish, he put straight on Facebook, those fish have been there for 2 weeks, and I knew it. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell your best friend, and why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell y'all something before I go. I think it was last year or year before last. Chris Brown went to Middle Tennessee, and I was trying to help him, but I was telling him everything I knew. And another person was supposed to meet him up there and wound up going a different way or something. Well, anyway, Chris hadn't caught no fish. So I told him, I said, well, how did you like Defeated Creek? And he said, you don't have to fucking rub it in. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I know I'm defeated. And I said, no, man, I'm not saying you defeated. I said, how did you like defeat? I told you to fish Defeated Creek. And Chris thought I was telling him he got defeated because he didn't catch no fish. And I was trying, there's actually a creek up there up on Cordell Hill. It's the closest creek to the dam called Defeated Creek.
Uh-huh.
And Chris said, he said, I thought you was being a smart ass. You remember that, Chris?
I do.
It's like
I do.
like on Hartwell, when I talked to you, Wes, you told me, hey, you need to try here, you need to try there. And I looked at all those places, and everywhere Wes said, they weren't there. There was nothing there. But, I mean, it's a good starting point, kind of.
No, back up. No. The first place I told you where I would fish, you went there and caught fish. You said, I like the way it looked on the map.
Which
now,
one's
let's
that?
back up now. Huh?
Conross?
No, Martin's Creek.
No, I went there, and there was nothing.
Oh,
Caught
okay.
nothing there.
But I told you you was gonna fight boats in Conross.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, nothing made me laugh more than we caught that damn, was a 13-pound striper next to Daryl. We're like, was a motherfucking catfish. And Daryl's like, that was no goddamn catfish.
Hey, I tell you, though, if you can stay out of the boat traffic, you stand a better chance of catching some fish.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete, you whooped my ass at Baden, but I got your ass both SBCs.
Hey, you beat me by an egg sinker. Remember that.
It don't
Hey,
matter.
guys,
An egg sinker.
An egg sinker.
I'm out, ladies. Peace. Good night. Tight lines, and I'll see y'all next week. Hopefully, I'll be able to tell you that actually Shane Howington's going out with me, Chris. He's going to come down Friday with us. It's him
He's
and
like
him
your
and his wife.
horseshoe, right, Wes?
Him and his wife Shane. I mean, him and his girlfriend Jane. Do what?
He's your horseshoe, right?
Who, Shane?
Yeah.
Shane
Hey, I never got to ask you. Did y'all catch any tarpon or anything when y'all went out?
Nope, we had 2 hookups and didn't catch nothing. But listen,
I got to tell you this, Wes.
Shane Howington Shane Howitt is one of the people that I trust. I trust Shane with my life. Shane did something for me years ago that I'll never forget. I bought a 17-foot Carolina skiff, and back then I didn't have no money. You know, I mean, I didn't have nothing, but I did manage to get a boat. And I'd made a post on Facebook. I said, well, all I got to do now is get me some rods and planer boards in the bait tank, and I'm back on the water. And he had seen that post, and he was friends because he messaged me, and he said, can you meet me in Livonia, Georgia? How far are you from Livonia, Georgia? And then the first thing I thought, I said, oh, hell, he's queer. He just wanted me to meet him somewhere. So I called Patrick, and I said, man, do you know this guy, Patrick Howington? Because that's how he was under, and it said he was from the United Kingdom. And Patrick said, no, he said, that's my buddy Shane. He said, yeah, Shane's cool. He said, why are you asking? And I told him. And he said, I don't know. Ask him what he wants. So I said, well, I don't want to be rude. I said, so I took off down there to meet him. And long story short, he gave me 3 Ambassador 6500 C3s with ugly stick rods. He gave me a brand new Keeps Alive 30-gallon bait tank and 4 sets of planer boards and told me to go fishing. Wouldn't let me pay him for it. And that's how me and Shane Howington met. So that's always meant a lot to me. And me and Shane has fished together a lot. And Shane Howington, Scott Perry, Patrick Miller is probably 3 people that I don't care what I tell them, I trust them with my life. In fact, if something happens to me and Lori, it's already in our wheel. We had our wheels revised a couple of weeks ago. If something happens to me, Scott Perry's going to take care of our dogs. I allotted him so much money. And I do believe if something happened to me and Lori, he'd take care of our dogs.
Can I take care of your fishing rods?
When all that stuff, all that will go to my grandkids.
Trust me.
All that's left to our grandkids.
Please don't leave me no raggedy ass ambassadors. I have to keep the rest of my life.
Hey, but I tell y'all, if something happens to me first and this Lori here by herself, I don't want y'all over here in my building saying, hey, I'll give you $10 for this $800 bill.
Is that what you told her?
That's what he. Yeah, that's what you said you paid.
Yeah, is she gonna sell him for what he told her that he paid for?
I know, right?
That's the story. That's
All right, good night, fellas.
All right, man, y'all be good.
All right, I'm going.
It's been real.
Bye-bye.
There you go.